Hello and welcome to episode 41 of Some Like It Real. I'm Bryan.
And I'm Veronica.
And we're two cinephiles who love to talk movies.
We have weekly episodes discussing the newest films, creating lists and drafts, and keeping you updated on the latest movie headlines and awards races.
As a reminder, please like, rate, and subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast platforms, which helps more people find the show.
And share it with any cinephiles in your life.
Today is a big day for us at Some Like It Real. We're about to draft the works of a new up-and-coming filmmaker named Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, Bryan, can you name some of his films just as a refresher?
Oh, just super small films like Memento, The Dark Knight, Inception, Oppenheimer. The list goes on and on.
Yeah, I've heard of him. So, yes, we're very excited to be drafting the films of Christopher Nolan, collaborative style, in honor of the highly anticipated release of his newest film, The Odyssey.
We will be ranking all 12 Christopher Nolan films, and we are not alone. Please join me in welcoming Giovanni Lago to the pod. Gio, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I got to talk about good old Chrissy Nolan. Big time. Summer's built around him this year. I'm sure we got a lot to go on about probably our definitive, big name filmmaker of this generation.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. Thank you for joining us today. We are so excited to take this journey with you, this odyssey, you might say. But before we begin, Bryan, would you like to explain the rules?
Yes, so we will be looking at these 12 films and collaboratively ranking them as a team. This is going to be a crazy one, to say the least.
All right, with that, it's time to pick the draft order. So Bryan spins the wheel and your name is called. You can pick whatever spot you want. So just to be clear, those are drafter A, B, and C. A gets picks 10, 7, 4, 1. B gets 11, 8, 5, 2. C gets 12, 9, 6, 3. And then the vetoes are distributed. 2 vetoes for drafter A, 1 for B, a veto and a veto override for C. So, drafter A, you're getting the top pick, but it's kind of picked by the second pick. So you get the extra veto there.
Does anyone want to go first, or do I even bother asking? Because whenever I ask someone if they want to go first, they usually don't go first. That's what happens on this podcast. Veronica from past experience.
I have a position in mind that I would like, but we'll see. I'm not gonna jinx it.
I don't really care where I go, to be honest. Gio, do you have a preference?
I know exactly where I go. I know exactly what I want. I know exactly what I want. I have a very definitive idea of this list. I'm gonna try to be very collaborative, but if we start waning, I'm just gonna have to nip it in the bud.
You're gonna get strict, yep.
Yeah.
You don't want to piss off Gio, that's for sure. With that, it's time to spin the wheel. Here we go.
The not at all rigged wheel. Let's see how it goes.
I want it me. Come on.
Oh.
It's me.
Looks like Gio.
All right. I want to be C.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a good one.
All right, between me and Veronica.
Looks like it's gonna be you.
Sweet. I will take Team A.
Wow, the woman getting less to do on a Christopher Nolan draft. Who could imagine?
I mean, it's very fitting, honestly. Considering,
no shade,
his track record.
Love the guy,
yeah.
But,
Oh my God, Veronica firing already. Oh my God. Well, the draft order will be, I will be drafter A, Veronica will be drafter B, and Gio will be drafter C. So before we get into drafting, let's go around and talk a little bit about what Christopher Nolan means to us. So Gio, as our guest, we're going to start with you. What is your relationship to Christopher Nolan, and why do you think he's regarded as one of our great working filmmakers?
I think it's always funny talking about, because we each have filmmakers we've naturally ordained as art guys. And Nolan, I think as of late, really has kind of worked himself into that sphere for me. I've never really considered Nolan one of, personally, my guys. But he's a filmmaker that's always existed since I have watched films. And I think the reason why, and mixing of why I think he's the name that he is today, and also my experience with them, is that, and we're all relative the same age, Nolan is a filmmaker that feels like we've truly watched him become who he is. A lot of filmmakers that we talk about, like Scorsese, Spielberg, it's something that feels handed down from our parents. Your dad showing you something like Goodfellas on a Sunday night when you're way too young, or something like a Coppola film like The Godfather. Nolan, each of us have an experience of truly young of mostly likely the Batman films is where, especially when we were like 5 or 6 around that area, you know, going to a theater to watch him and seeing what he's become since and Inception and truly becoming the premier name of filmmakers in industry, where even like when the concept of film bros, like in the 90s, like it was Tarantino. Like even in the early 2000s, you would be like, yeah, Pulp Fiction. You ask kids, especially younger than us now, it's always Interstellar. That's the film that everyone talks about, of like kids in high school, middle school, like 15 onwards when that movie came out. We're like, dude, Interstellar like changed my life. It was like such a fundamental film in terms of like modern blockbuster filmmaking, especially something that like at the time, it and a lot of his films, frankly, get like this whole reevaluation. Like we talk about something like The Prestige. You talk about now, I think people have far more respect for that film than say when it came out back in '06. And seeing where he is now, he's on top of the world. He owns this industry. Like, he is like one of the few guys that people by name in a time where people watch everything at home, are so disconnected with films and the artistry of it. They will know a Jordan Peele. They will know a Tarantino. They know Christopher Nolan. And when Christopher Nolan's name is on something, people go to the theater. I mean, Tenet making $400 million in the heat of a pandemic is like an unfathomable thing to think about. Because considering especially everything bombed the following year, and now we are in the eve of the Odyssey, which is possibly the biggest thing he's ever made. It really feels like something he's worked his entire career to. A filmmaker who, frankly, like not even in like a derogatory way, constantly is doing the same thing, but more so refining himself in the way, like I know most people associate time, but as we sort of talk about films like Following or Prestige, like it's a lot of stuff talks about ego, obsession, the desire to return to something, which is very fitting. Yeah, it's made him a very interesting filmmaker, and his very strict commitment to practical filmmaking and the filmmakers that inspired him and the artistry of it all that feels entirely lost when we see some projects today. And now we got a bit of like a shift in the rise of AI and all the bullshit we're seeing, that there are people like Denis Villeneuve and, you know, Spielberg still out here cranking out great fucking films. Like this is, it's refreshing to see that someone's like operating on a grand scale that we just don't see anymore, with the practicality and the intention that he has. And that's why people tune out for his movies.
Wow. That was, you just wax poetic about Nolan and what he means, and I don't know how to follow up on that. So good luck to you, Veronica, for following up that. What is your relationship to Nolan?
Yeah, co-sign everything that you said, Gio, for sure. Yeah, definitely agree that I knew some of his like bigger hit films, like you were saying, that came out when we were kids and were gigantic. Definitely knew those films before like connecting it to the filmmaker and, you know, learning about him as a director. And you're totally right that there's so many themes, like specific motifs and everything that he does keep coming back to, but you know, he iterates on it, it changes, and you know, you change as you watch it. You go back and watch something that you saw when you were younger and it means something differently to you now. And yeah, his style as a filmmaker, I think, is, I've always kind of thinking of it as falling somewhere between like Spielberg and Kubrick, where it's, you know, he can definitely dip into some of that like more sentimental, like, and like muscular filmmaking like Spielberg, but he's also very like intellectual and kind of abstract sometimes, like Kubrick, and but he also, you know, he synthesizes all of that and makes it just his own thing. And you know, it's totally fair to describe something as like Nolan-esque, even if it's, you know, something that he's not involved in, and we kind of understand what that means. So yeah, I think that currently today he is in, well, probably one of the best positions that anyone could be in terms of picking his next projects, you know, working with whoever he wants to work with, you know, getting whatever he wants to write off the ground. I think it's cool that, you know, I mean, Oppenheimer was that is a kind of straight drama that he turned into this phenomenon. I mean, Barbie helped. The Barbenheimer phenomenon definitely played a role, but the fact that he took that and goes to make this other, you know, big epic that we can assume he's probably going to make in a very, you know, tactile way. It's going to be kind of the kind of filmmaking he likes to do. And yeah, I just think it's important that he's a filmmaker that people know and identify, and make that every movie that he makes from here on out pretty much is going to be an event. And I just love that he, you know, has that clout, and he has the talent and the skill to back it up too.
To keep it short and sweet, he's one of the best working today. Every time he puts something out, it's like an event. I like that he takes his time with every project that he puts out. I like that he differs himself with every project that he puts out. I love his advocate for theater going and for film stock and IMAX. I respect his craft so much, but I also really admire the stories that he brings to life, the performances that he gets from his actors. Maybe his writing isn't the strongest suit of him, but he knows how to direct. He knows how to make films that really stick with you and ones that you do want to go back to and you want to pick apart the pieces and you learn something new on each and every viewing. He really is one of our greats. There was a period of time where I've always loved Christopher Nolan, but there was a period where he wasn't in my top 5 or even top 10 filmmakers for me. He was always right outside that bubble. But then recently, this entire decade so far with Tenet and Oppenheimer and just rewatching everything, and then of course my anticipation for the Odyssey, he really is one of my favorite working filmmakers. And not to be a basic film bro, there's a reason why, like we've said throughout this opening so far, there's a reason why people get excited to watch a movie from him. There's a reason why people trust Christopher Nolan. They know that he is capable of doing wondrous things in this industry, and he is one of the saviors of this entire business right now. So I've loved him for a very long time. I have so many memories of going to watch his movies for the first time. I cannot believe that when we're recording this just a week before the Odyssey comes out, but for us, it is just days before we even see the movie, which is absolutely insane that an entire year has gone by, us anticipating this movie. It doesn't even feel like it's been 3 years since his last movie came out. So, time, we talked about time. It's crazy how time moves, and I love the guy. I love pretty much everything that he's put out, and even his weakest film is still an admirable effort. So I'm really excited to draft these films with you guys today. I don't even know what direction we're going to go. I have a hunch maybe early on in the ranking, but later, once we get to like the top, maybe like 8, I have no idea where we're going to go. It could really go in multiple directions. So shall we begin the draft?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think that people have a lot of personal favorites with Nolan, so I'm very curious to see where we all fall. But Bryan, would you like to remind us of the eligible films today?
Of course. The 12 films that will be on the board today are as follows: Following, Memento, Insomnia, Batman Begins, The Prestige, The Dark Knight, Inception, The Dark Knight Rises, Interstellar, Dunkirk, Tenet, and Oppenheimer. So without further ado, let's begin the Christopher Nolan collaborative draft. So Gio, the first spot is yours. What are you going to put in the number 12 slot?
This is easy for me. It's Insomnia. It's by a bullet, I think, Nolan's worst movie. It was the only blind spot I've had of his career. I just watched it a few nights ago in preparation for this draft. And I was just baffled by how much of a straightforward procedural that contains none of the essence of Nolan's work that makes him interesting. Like even Following, which is his debut, that is very small in scale and a bit convoluted and suffers from like the Nolanisms that even he still has to this day, contains far more of his essence and what makes his work special. And I think that's probably also because for Insomnia, he is, adapting not only an English iteration of a Norwegian film with Stellan Skarsgård, but also just a screenplay that's not his. He had none of his hand in it. There's none of the non-linear storytelling. There's none of the precise editing. It takes far too long for the film to introduce Robin Williams, where it does get interesting about these two men burying secrets and using that over each other. You got this deranged Robin Williams going against a very worn out and tired Al Pacino, who is not close to his best. It's that weird early 2000s era of Pacino where either if he's not hamming it up, it's kind of like, what are we doing? Especially post Heat Insider. I don't know. And even the Wally Pfister of it all, when he was rocking it as his number one DP, it looks gorgeous. I think, swapping Norway for Alaska, great choice. He captures the best he can of that landscape to really set the tone, but it's a miss. I barely think it is watchable, honestly. It was a bore to get through, and I think that's why it's automatically at the bottom of Nolan's filmography.
This was also the only first time watch for me. I finished it a couple hours ago.
Oh,
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely like the least Nolan. It feels, directorially, it's a little bit anonymous. It feels a little bit like a Fincher ripoff a bit. Like it's definitely going for a lot of those same things. I still enjoyed it. I didn't mind it as a watch. I do think that Pacino is definitely like Pacinoing really hard, and it's not my favorite performance from him. I think Robin Williams is very good, but yeah, he's not in as much of the movie as you would like. I think it looks beautiful. I think it's a great setting to have it in Alaska. They make a lot of great use of that. It's Alaska when it's sunny all the time, and so that's contributing to his insomnia. Made me think of the recent season of True Detective, which is Alaska at night all the time, and I think it's a little bit more interesting to play with the like all daylight all the time kind of thing. So I think it's an okay watchable detective thriller, but just there's not a lot of Nolan to it. So I would maybe have it like a spot or two higher, but I'm fine with it being the lowest on this list.
It's definitely lower tier in Nolan, but I still think it is a solid entry in his filmography, even though you could obviously tell that it feels very generic in comparison to everything else that he put out. And a lot of it, like Gio said, has to do with the fact that he didn't write this. This is obviously not based on original material from him. But even when you think about that, when we get into the Dark Knight trilogy, that's obviously based on previous material, but he adds his own twists and spins to it that makes it feel very special and makes it feel very different from the material. I do like the movie overall. I agree. It's not Pacino's finest hour. Robin Williams, I think, is the best performance in this movie. I love whenever a comedic actor does something very serious, and this was a very interesting time for Robin Williams. This was shortly after he won the Oscar for Good Will Hunting, and he had done a slew of very, serious, independent dramas and everything. He did this and 1 Hour Photo in the same year, and 1 Hour Photo is another fucked up side of Robin Williams. I don't know which one is more fucked up. That's up for your own interpretation, but I like the movie overall. I agree with Veronica. I like the choice to set it in Alaska and have it be sunny the entire time. I think that makes for an interesting character of its own. But yeah, ultimately it's one of the more least memorable Nolan movies. So I agree with Veronica. I would probably have it a spot or two higher, but I'm okay with having it at number 12.
All right, pretty much in agreement, or at least no one wants to sacrifice a veto just yet.
Nah, too early.
Yeah, all good with that. Okay, so I'm picking the number 11. Like I said, people have personal favorites. I don't know if this is going to be controversial or contentious right off the bat, but I'll just go ahead and put for my first pick at number 11, I'm going to go with Tenet. So to be fair, did not have time to give it a rewatch. I saw it when it came out on streaming. That was the whole, obviously out of the COVID release. I did not get to see it in theaters. I saw it when it was released on streaming. I watched it one other time since then, and doesn't stick with me. It doesn't. I've heard lots of chatter about this movie from people who say it's easily his worst versus people who reclaim it as a total masterpiece. From everything that I gather, I think that the best thing you can say about it is that it's just got kind of good vibes, and it's just it almost satirizes Christopher Nolan's thing of being so complex and playing with time and playing with what situation you're even in, and almost says forget about all that, just watch and feel and experience. And I just don't think that it works for me. I just don't think that that's the best mode for Nolan to be in. I think that, watching it, Robert Pattinson, always fantastic, great in it. I know that people love that central relationship. John David Washington has really never worked for me as an actor. And I think the fact that you have him just be protagonist in this and not even, attempt to give him a character, he's just always felt a bit blank to me. I think I've described him as very go girl, give us nothing. I just don't know. I don't know that he's ever really blown me away. And I think when you have him being this just sort of generic, leading man, it just doesn't really work for me. So, I know there are great sequences. I know that people really love it. I get it. I can understand it. I'm just not on board with the Tenet train.
Yeah, this is a veto.
Do you want to? You have two. Do you want to use yours, Brian?
I do. Yeah. This should not be number 11.
I agree. But just speak your piece, Brian, since you're going to be using the veto.
I mean, yeah, okay, it's not top tier Nolan for me either. This is another one that's similar to Insomnia, not top tier. I like this more than Insomnia. I saw this. This was the first movie I saw when theaters reopened. I drove out of state because theaters were not open here in New Jersey. So I drove an hour out of state to go watch this in IMAX. It was a very trippy experience, and it was a lot to take in on the first watch. And then I watched it again, like just a few weeks after it came out, and I liked it even more. And then they re-released it 2 years ago on IMAX 70. And my whole perception of the movie changed. I still don't think it's a perfect movie, but again, this is a movie that you really can't judge on one viewing. You really got, and I know you said you gave it another watch, but it's definitely one that you might just have to watch a few more times. And I know that's a big commitment. It's a long movie. It's certainly not the fastest movie out there either. And if you ever do get a chance to see it on the big screen, that might help you like it more. I have no idea. I can't judge. There's obviously people that didn't like this even on the big screen. But yeah, I'll say more about this movie when we eventually get to it in the ranking.
Yeah. Should I save my take on it then for the ranking?
You could like tease your take and everything.
I mean, I strongly disagree. I think, and what I would say for now, shout out to the lovely Brendan Hodges, who I write with, and years ago he tweeted that it feels very much like people want to compare it to like his take on Spies and Bond, and like it's more of a rejection of that and closer to something like Metal Gear Solid and that very Kojima-esque storytelling where it is intentionally like indecipherable at times. And I think the more you revisit it, the more it gives you. And I will save the rest of my take for when we eventually pick it in its final slot. But I personally, for me, this is top tier Nolan. It's really high up. And I think it is one of those that the mantra of it, of just don't try to think it, just feel it, I think is so core text of like Nolan at that point of his career and so much of the criticism he's faced towards his writing. And I think that's what makes the movie glide and very rewatchable.
All right, yeah, see, we're just kicking off. We already have one that's low tier, mid tier, and top tier. So this is going to be interesting. Okay, so I will replace that pick. Then I'm going to go with Following then, which is Christopher Nolan's first feature film. It's mostly just like, it's really interesting as a skeleton key for the rest of his career. There's just so much here that he will continue to do and build upon, and it's just really interesting that he like was who he was right out of the gate. It's a much more understated kind of movie than all of the big flashy stuff he would go to do later on, and so it doesn't, it gets lost in the shuffle a little bit, even though I think it's very, very solid. So yeah, I think this is an okay spot for it, even though it's like a very assured debut for him.
That's what I would have picked, honestly, for Following. I mean, I talked about it earlier. It's a solid time. Like, the black and white photography is good. Mm-hmm. The story of it making, where he filmed it over the longest period of time because they would only film on weekends because that's when everyone was free from like working their jobs. So they had time to shoot. It's very DIY filmmakery. It's very small in scale, but like the non-linear storytelling, the way it cuts, the very, I mentioned indecipherable for Tenet, like these characters who are like mystery boxes of their own and what are their functions, and also just two dueling personalities, which is something that carries on throughout his career as like a structuring engine for the way he tells some of his stories. It's all present, and it doesn't entirely work, but it's also something that I'm like suffers from the most first-time filmmaker issues that for the most part have been smoothed over his like decades of making films since. And it's a solid time. I have no problems with Following.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a good spot for it. I rewatched Following earlier in the week, and it's a very easy watch. It's only 60 minutes, so you can watch it very quickly. And yeah, I don't really have anything to add when it comes to this. I think it's a solid debut, and it's definitely, like Veronica said, a good skeleton key of what is to come after this and everything. It's not the most revisitable movie, in my opinion, even though it's incredibly short. But it is one that I definitely have grown a bit of fondness for every time I've watched it. So that's saying a lot. So yeah, I feel like most directors would kill to have Following as like a decent enough debut. But yeah, it's a good Nolan film. Certainly not his best, but also not his worst. So Following at number 11 seems right. Okay, next up is me at number 10. I feel like this is also maybe an obvious pick depending on who you talk to, but I feel like a majority of people would put this in the lower tier ranking of Nolan's films. So I think at number 10, I'm going to put The Dark Knight Rises on the table. I really like The Dark Knight Rises, probably more than most people, admittedly. I have very vivid memories of going to watch this in the theater, opening night with my family in IMAX, and just the experience was so euphoric, knowing that this was the end of this iteration of Batman, and then we had Bane and all these other things going on. But yeah, every time I go back to this movie, I still like it overall. But over the last 14 years, I pick up parts, some things, and I'm like, oh, well, it's dipping in quality for me a bit, but it's still good. It's a solid enough conclusion to this story. It does make me wonder what would have happened, what the plan would have been had, say, like Heath Ledger never passed away. Would we have gotten more Joker? Would Bane have always been the villain of this final story and everything? But I think overall, there's a lot to take away from this. I think Anne Hathaway as Catwoman is really great. As I said, my appreciation for the movie has kind of dipped over the few years, but my appreciation for her performance has grown increasingly over the last few years. And there's a lot of great set pieces, everything in underground and him climbing, even though we're like, how the hell did he get back to Gotham? Who the fuck knows? But I really do like it a lot. And I also would be remiss to not mention, so my brother-in-law, years ago when they were shooting this movie, they went across multiple cities around the entire country and shot it as Gotham City. So they shot here in New Jersey, and my brother-in-law had to fill out a form. So my brother-in-law is an extra in The Dark Knight Rises. So I've tried many times to find him. I don't know if he knows where he is in the movie, but I have to mention that. So Scott, you're welcome. So number 10 will be The Dark Knight Rises. Does anyone disagree with this placement?
No. I think it's very apt. It's my least favorite of the Nolan Batman trilogy. I really wanted to rewatch this one before we recorded, but I was so busy. I only really got to Begins. Dark Knight is a film I've seen countless times. I know back in my hand I don't really need to see it again to like refresh. So I feel like maybe I would appreciate a bit more of Rises, but like I vividly remember the Talia al Ghul stuff is not great with Marion Cotillard.
Oh, you don't like the death scene with her just going?
Yeah, no, yeah, no. It's not great. And you know the Joseph Gordon-Levitt becoming Robin stuff. I was like, okay. Everything with Catwoman and Hathaway and Bale is great. Like him at the party when he's all messed up and her like it's great stuff that Nolan's really able to get out of the both of them. And Michael Caine does some of his best work of the trilogy in this film, and the
I
Zimmer
heard these
score
cries
is great.
in this house.
Yeah, he's great. Like it and it's good. Like it looks great. Without this movie, Glenn Powell probably wouldn't be where he is because that was like a job he needed really badly, and it's like what kept his career afloat at that time. So yeah, you know, important movie for probably not the most intentional reasons, but. The weakest of the three for me. You know what? Actually, I don't know, because if I rewatch it, maybe it's Begins. Because I recently rewatched Begins, and I thought it was a solid time, and I wasn't as enthused as I was when I was 6 years old, and I was like, holy shit, dude, that's Batman. He's in a tank, and he's got all black armor. And like, even the things that grown me most about Nolan's adherence to, like, very realistic Batman, which I think 3 films in probably really deterred the character for like the next decade, especially all the Snyder stuff and how they really took it. It feels like recently with Matt Reeves, like they finally course corrected in the right manner. And even other heroes, like we mentioned Snyder, I think like Snyder watched these movies and they were so desperate, like we need the Superman equivalent of that. And that's what led to Man of Steel. And that's like now with like James Gunn and Corn Sweat, we're kind of like, yeah, this is the guy I remember from the comics, the Boy Scout, who's like super, like a happy-go-lucky guy. And so it really had like a very heavy effect on like superhero movies, especially after 2008 when Dark Knight really shifted everything into gears with that, and Iron Man that year, and how people were trying to attain this level of pedigree that Nolan had achieved with this genre. And frankly, what it doesn't achieve for many years to come after. There's like rare cases of where something in like a superhero genre is like, wow, that's very well acclaimed. Like maybe Watchmen on the miniseries they did on HBO, or maybe like, I mean, I wasn't huge on it, but I guess WandaVision was like an Emmy nominated thing, you know, like shit like that, where Nolan's imprint on the genre is massive, and this was kind of also him being like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I have other things I want to do. It allowed me to play with IMAX on this scale, and now I'm going to use this for the things I really want to do.
Yeah, I'm very relieved you put it here. I wasn't sure because I know. I mean, I know that some people just like they just love Bane so much, or you know, certain aspects of this movie they definitely work, but it's, you know, by far my least favorite of the trilogy. And yeah, it's not. It was something that when it came out, you know, it was so hard to follow up The Dark Knight. It was such a pop cultural phenomenon. Like it was just so huge in every way that it would be, you know, almost impossible to be better than that. But you know, it just kind of feels like it goes for like bigger and badder, but not necessarily better. Like it ups the stakes in a way that just aren't all that interesting to me. And it has all these logistic problems about him getting back into Gotham and his healing journey and stuff. And like there's just so many things that when I was watching it originally when it came out, I was like just feeling that disappointment of like, this is not, you know, blowing me away the way that Dark Knight did. And it has not really grown up my estimation all that much. I do remember loving Anne Hathaway. I don't know that she has like all that much to do. Like I kind of wish she had been a bigger part of the movie, but yeah, the Joseph Gordon-Levitt stuff is like, okay. But yeah, it just doesn't have any of the skill and like the sort of like taste of the earlier ones. I think it feels like a bit of throwing everything at the wall, and like not much of it really sticks for me.
Also with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, kind of like around the peak of when he was like that guy in this industry, like he was everywhere, you know, 500 Days of Summer and this and all the other films. And now it's kind of like, yeah, I hang out with Peter Thiel and like I'm in like my weird like billionaire club or whatever. And you're like, okay, man, I thought you were like in movies, but sure.
He did 4 movies in 2012: Dark Knight Rises, Premium Rush, Looper, and Lincoln.
Yeah, and like 3 of them are like, oh, actually I wouldn't say 3 of them because Dark Knight Rises I wouldn't say is great, but I mean Lincoln, what he does do is like a great ensemble. Looper rocks. Like Looper
is awesome.
Great performance and one of my favorite Ryan
And
Johnson
Premium Rush
films.
is a fun time.
It's good, like Redbox movie, frankly.
Yeah, but it has Veronica's guy, Michael Shannon.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
So Dark Knight Rises at number 10. So now we're going to go back to Gio for number 9.
I think number 9, I'm going to have to keep the Batman conversation going, and I'm just going to do Batman Begins. Just rewatched this last night. Yeah, the days blend in. I am like Bruce Wayne in the cave in the darkness, you know.
You were born
and
to
it's
it?
fine. Yeah, I was born and I was blinded by the lights. It's fine. Again, a movie that when you're 6 years old and you watch it and you're like, yeah, I'm definitely dressing up as Batman for Halloween. And I did. And I bought I remember the Tumblr action figure I had that like you pop the button and the thing comes up and it's awesome. And there is great things he sets up in here. I mean, like the ensemble in terms of like a gorgeous Cillian Murphy as Scarecrow, and probably like Scarecrow is just someone I was like, man, we don't really use enough of him. I forgot that Victor Zsasz is like a background character in this. Gary Oldman was just like perfect. Like next to like, I was like, oh, that can never be topped. And now Matt Reeves has Jeffrey Wright. I'm like, oh, this is great. Like Jeffrey Wright honestly is so perfect for that. But like even Gary Oldman for that series and that image of the character is great. They got a British dude playing an Italian, as in Carmine Falcone with Tom Wilkinson. Does it work?
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace to the GOAT. Love him. And it just feels so fragmented. Like the film is like in all these different sections where it's like, yeah, it's his training time. And then it's like, it's Carmine Falcone time. And then it's Scarecrow time. And then it's like, oh, remember the League of Shadows and Ra's al Ghul? And now, like, just weirdly structured, I know, with him and Jonathan Nolan, his brother, who he writes with a lot. And also just, like, a movie that now, if it's remade, I don't think Nolan would keep Liam Neeson as Ra's al Ghul. Like, it's funny to see that it's Ken Watanabe's the decoy Ra's al Ghul. I'm like, that actually is great.
Yeah.
Why wasn't he Ra's al Ghul? And like a guy who's also been in other Christopher Nolan movies and is just an accomplished actor. And so like, you know, it is weird. Again, Wally Pfister of it all. It looks awesome. Everything in the snow set piece looks great. Some of the editing is pretty clunky. Like, I saw a tweet recently where it was like, thank God, like, the heavens gave Jennifer Lane to Christopher Nolan because she has, like, made his movies in terms of editing, like, immensely better. And so, yeah, I don't really have much to it. The Rachel dynamic doesn't really flourish here compared to what it does in The Dark Knight and the emotionality of it all.
Well, that's because Katie Holmes is not that good of an actor.
Unfortunately, no. Like, shout out Dawson's Creek, you know. But like, other than that, yeah, it's rough. And then Bale's cool. Like, I mean, Bale looks like the Batman. I think like in a post-Machinist world, when you're seeing him like beefed up, you're like, holy shit.
He literally did this after the Machinist.
Yeah, it's just unfathomable to think about that in the context of it all because
what he put his body through in like those few years.
He loves abusing his body. If you tell Christian Bale, hey, I'll pay you to do a movie where you gain a lot of weight or lose it, he's like,
I think he said that he's done with that now after Vice and
he's
Ford
like
v
in his
Ferrari
50s. Yeah, like it's like you can't do that when you start pushing a certain age. Like you will permanently jack your body up, and I think he's like I don't know what body type he's gonna have for Heat 2. I'm sure he's gonna be very normal, but like like when you're watching this when he's in the prime of his life and he's like in his 30s, like go nuts, and it looks great. Clearly, Nolan was like, hey Wally, get the lighting right there on those abs, and it's awesome. He's Batman.
Yeah, I agree with this placement. I haven't watched Batman Begins in a few years, and I like Batman Begins, but it's one that, you know, similar to Dark Knight Rises, loved it when it came out, still think it's a good movie, but over the years my appreciation has dwindled for it because, like you said, it's very fragmented, it's very messy. Obviously, it being the introduction to this story, like, you know, it's not going to be a perfect introduction and everything, but I liked how it was being built up and I liked how it was being set up, but there's just something about it that's keeping me from fully connecting with it compared to The Dark Knight. And yeah, I like the movie, but again, there's so many problems with it, and Katie Holmes, in my opinion, is like a massive issue with it and everything. So thank God she chose to not come back for The Dark Knight. She chose to do that movie Mad Money, and they brought in Maggie Gyllenhaal, who's...
I like that movie.
Someone has to. So, and then they brought in Maggie Gyllenhaal, and thank God they did that. So, yeah, not a ton to say about Batman Begins, but yeah, and I agree. They really didn't give Cillian Murphy enough to work with in this entire trilogy. It makes me sad. But look at him now. He got to lead a Nolan film, and he won an Oscar for it.
Yeah. It's also, I was going to say him and Michael Caine, like, this is... I'm not mistaken, like one of the 6 appearances they have together, where
I believe so. Yeah,
they're the 2 longest Nolan staples in terms of like his acting troupe. Where, well, now Caine, you know, practically retired, so it's almost like that's not happening anymore. But at least Murphy, you can always just hope comes back again.
Yeah, for sure. I would have had this a few slots higher, but it's in my sort of mid tier, so you know, fine with it here. Yeah, I mean, I still really love this movie. I think that it's establishing a lot of the things that are later perfected in Dark Knight, and like Gio, you're right to call out the editing because this definitely does feel a little overstuffed. Like the fact that we have Scarecrow and Ra's al Ghul, and it has a little bit of that bloat that I think later superhero movies like learned all the wrong lessons and like you drag that out even more so into like we have to have 5 different villains and all of that stuff. So yeah, I think that it's not perfect, but I definitely like just think of it fondly and like remember some great sequences. The mansion burning down sequence is like just very visceral and yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I like in it, even if it's not perfect. But I was Cillian Murphy as a Scarecrow is just awesome,
on the money with that.
Just crazy good. And the fact that like I mean, he has appearances in the other ones, but this is his time to shine, and I just think he's like incredible. This is probably the first thing I saw him in, was just like obsessed, and I just loved Christian Bale as Bruce Wayne and Batman. I think that I don't know, he gets kind of underrated in the trilogy, I feel like, because the villains are so iconic and big and kind of carry all the conversation, but I just think he's so perfect for this world and the collaboration with Nolan.
It's a perfect one too. It was like 2004 was Red Eye, was I think remembering the first movie I ever watched with Cillian Murphy when I was like 5. Yeah. My mom was like, yeah, let's watch Red Eye. the Wes Craven thriller with him and Rachel McAdams, and then this the following year. And I was like, oh, this guy's good. And he's just one of those actors that's just always kind of like Nolan. And it's funny considering how many times they've worked together. Just like you're watching movies growing up, and you're like, this guy's always been in things I've seen.
And how many times he gets the signature Christopher Nolan haircut. There's always someone in the movie who looks like
someone's got to look
Nolan
like Christopher Nolan.
It's often him. All right, so Batman Begins at number 9. My pick will be next. I mean, obviously, I would bring back what I've already tried, but I've heard the passion. I know that another veto might be coming my way, so maybe I should just try with another one. But I'm not sure how people are gonna feel about this pick either. I will go ahead and put up Dunkirk here. Now, I don't have a giant relationship to this one. Saw it in the theaters, was definitely like impressed by the experience of it. Obviously it's a great theater movie, the sound, the visual and everything. Very, again, one of those ones that I find very impressive, but I don't necessarily connect to all that much. It obviously it plays with the time stuff, as Christopher Nolan is wont to do. I think that's clever. I think that makes it, pretty thrilling. I'm along for the ride and everything. I just don't tend to find myself wanting to revisit it or think about it much, even though it is like a technical marvel. So that's kind of where I stand on it.
I'm scared to use a veto, and I want to goad Brian to using one, but then whatever you pick next is automatically stuck in that slot, right? So then I know Veronica will probably go back to Tenet. But to me, this is painful. This is a really painful moment, considering I think Dunkirk's like top 3 Nolan film, in my opinion. Veronica is just personally come for the jugular each time. I think that's the thing about Nolan. He's kind of also one of those guys like PTA where like you ask different people and they each have different variations of what that filmography would be in their personal rankings. I think Dunkirk is so brilliant. I think you mentioned the muscular filmmaking of Nolan. I think the aerial sequences alone, I think, are just out of this world. I remember seeing that at IMAX opening night. And the opening where they're walking and the pamphlets are falling down and they get ambushed. And I think it is, while it lacks like certain characters, it's more of the experience of it all. And I think like that particular moment in time, and I think the way he ably guides each narrative together. I mean, also the only good Harry Styles performance, like the movie that ultimately fooled Hollywood into thinking like they needed to like cast him and everything in like 2021 and 2022. This hurts. I'm torn. I mean, I think for the sake of being strategic, I might have to just let it happen. I don't know, Brian. What are we feeling?
Yeah, this is really tough because this is also very high in my Nolan ranking as well. But it's like
I rather Tenet I would have higher, honestly, because that's a movie I think about so much more. But like Dunkirk, I think of just pure filmmaking.
I would probably have Tenet higher as well. This is really hard. Oh my god.
I'm also trying to be strategic with my veto and veto override. That's why.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to use another veto.
Yeah. Because I just, if I didn't know what you were thinking, Veronica, and you would instantly put Tenet as a replacement and it's locked in, I lose regardless. So it's at this rate is what film I'm willing to bat for more. Right. Even though technically...
And I don't want to start moving other things even lower, so you probably know what the replacement would be.
Yeah, I technically have Dunkirk in like number 3 and Tenet. For my personal, Tenet would be like 4. But I think Tenet's more fun to talk about.
So I'm okay with having Dunkirk here.
I will settle with Dunkirk here. I'll let you have this.
I'm okay with having Dunkirk here. It's tough. I really like Dunkirk a lot. It's definitely one of the better war films to have come out over the last decade, maybe even the century, to be honest. And this got Christopher Nolan his long overdue first ever Best Director Oscar nom, which is really, really exciting. My personal favorite Best Director lineup of maybe the last like 15 years.
That was unreal. Like him and Greta and PTA and Jordan Peele and Del Toro.
Yeah, like
that's the other thing. 2017 is one of my favorite movie years, like of the past couple decades. So like this one just really kind of fell to the bottom for me of the big movies that year.
There was a lot of good movies that came out that year, so it's really hard to like decipher that. But Yeah, it's definitely one of the more weaker outings when it comes to the writing. Like, you don't go to this movie for the writing, you go for the directing and the spectacle of it all, and it's really incredible work. I remember seeing this. I went to a 70 millimeter print of it first, which was really cool because it was my second time going to a film print after the Hateful Eight thing a few years prior. And then I saw it on IMAX 70, and I was just like, my world was rocked when I watched that. And yeah, it's one that I haven't watched in a few years, and definitely one that I would have liked to have revisited for this pod, but time gets in the way. It's hard to keep track of everything. So definitely going to revisit this one very soon. We already made a plan to do a 2017 draft next year in 2027. So that will be the time where Bryan revisits this movie. But yeah, it's great. It's really, really good. But I know that for some people, they don't emotionally connect to this as much as other ones, which again, I understand them not connecting with it in that regard. But I still think it's a really excellent entry in his filmography.
Yeah, fair.
All right, we're back to me now for number 7. Oh, fuck. This is really difficult.
This is where it starts getting in the little bit. The middle is frankly the weeds, where it's the personal preferences are really going to stand out. And it's really going to start getting tougher compared to, like, I'm sure when we get to, like, the top 3 or so, it's kind of feels set. It's really, this is the meat and potatoes of the draft.
Yeah.
Ah, fuck.
Yeah, it's crazy. I really do think you could ask 10 different people, like, what's your number 1, and get 10 different answers. So it's tough.
You can get different answers for what your number 7 is, too.
Yeah.
I'm so stumped right now. This is, like, really bad.
I think I know what you should do. I mean, just me. Because this would have been my number 8 originally. So I would have to settle with 7. Which, frankly, not the worst.
I'm between 2 films for this slot.
I think I know.
I think, okay, for me personally, this would be like top 3 Nolan films. But I did kind of snoop your letterboxes beforehand.
Oh.
So I kind of know where both of you stand on this movie. I know that you both like the movie, but I don't know if it's very high in your ranking because of the rating you gave it. So I think for number 7, I gotta put The Prestige here.
That's probably where I put it.
I think I have to put it here, even though for me this is like really high up in my Nolan ranking. This is
I
one
would have liked
that
it a little higher, but
this is one
You have
for
a
me.
veto. You can use it.
You could
I don't
veto.
feel that strongly. But I would have had it at like.
I like
5,
this one.
So.
Let's veto, Veronica. Nah.
Come on,
I would have had it
Veronica.
at like 5, so it's not that far off. But
Sure.
Come on, Veronica, veto if you really want to. If you want me to explain my stance beforehand.
yeah,
No, go nuts. Do it. I think
All right.
it sounds like we're settling.
So this is one that admittedly when I first saw it, I watched it, I think in middle school, maybe high school. And I didn't really like it the first time I watched it. I was very confused by it. I didn't like the decisions that they made with the story. And I was kind of like, I'm not really vibing with any of these performances, even though I love all these actors. I was like, interesting for me to say that David Bowie gives my favorite performance in the film.
He's the best part of the movie.
He's incredible. He's phenomenal. But over the years, my appreciation, like with a lot of these movies that we're talking about today, just grew and grew for me. And I think that the whole battle of wits, the battle between these magicians is so fascinating, so cool. And the period aesthetic is wonderful. The imagery is gorgeous. I think everyone is bringing their A game. Bale is great. Hugh Jackman's great. Johansson's great. We brought up David Bowie. He's awesome. Andy Serkis is in this. He's great. Everyone does a great job. I haven't watched this in many years, so it's been a long time. So it's not as fresh on my memory as it may be for you guys, because I know that both of you just rewatched this recently. But I like it a lot overall. And I don't know, when I last watched it, there was something about it that just hit me differently to where I put it up so high in my ranking. And yeah, it's just one of those films that, like Gio said early on in the episode, it was it was well liked when it came out, but over the last 20 years, it's been much more embraced. And now there are people that consider this one of, if not their favorite Nolan film. Obviously, we're not in that position, but it's a favorite amongst many, many people. So maybe putting it at 7 feels a tad sacrilegious. But again, Nolan's made mostly good movies, so it's like any placement isn't really a terrible placement. So
I was just about to say, to make you feel better, I think like 9 and 12 is just like solid to like whatever you think of Insomnia. And I think like this middle phase, it's like you could rearrange them all, like just because like we have Dunkirk at 8. Like I mean we all have different opinions on it, but I think like the bar of quality is like there's a large gap. Like I don't think the numerical value we're placing in really solidifies how good they are, especially
100%.
when his career is very consistent.
We're already into like what most people would consider top tier. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of preference.
Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, I think it's great. It's fantastic. I need to give it another watch. I live right outside Philadelphia. They just screened the 35 millimeter print in the city recently, and I was so bummed to miss out on that. But yeah, it's quite good. It's very, very good.
So I'm thinking, I am a bit intrigued by what you would replace it with, because I kind of feel like my top picks, I don't think you'd play any of them yet. So what the hell? I'll go ahead and veto.
All right.
Oh.
Up higher.
Okay.
So I'm like, so whatever other one you were deciding between, I hope that's not one of my like top 3. And
Okay.
I don't think it will be, but we'll see.
All right. I'm sorry, Gio. I think I have to do it. This is where Tenet has to go.
There we go.
Can I? Okay. You know what? I'm holding you guys hostage with my next pick, but okay.
Are you going to veto?
No. I mean, can I veto override and it stays? Is that how that works?
No, you still have a veto.
I still have a veto, but
you
can
didn't
I
use your veto.
Can I use the override on your veto? Is that how it works?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
That is
yeah.
how it works.
Before picking, yeah.
I didn't even I totally forgot you had the veto
Yeah,
override.
I think I'm gonna veto override.
Okay.
Okay.
So
The
keep
prestige.
the prestige there. Okay.
Yeah.
So leave the prestige at number 7. Okay, I said my piece, so go ahead. What do you guys think of the prestige?
I mean, I like it. I just rewatched it, like you mentioned. I think it's a really fun. Again, like the blueprint for Oppenheimer, and more so just like kind of like touched on what Following did with those two personalities and differing ambitions, but further in these magicians here who have like such grave egos and their spite for one another, or like fueling their ambition and desire in return to like their craft, which I think Nolan is very fascinated by. And like I mentioned Oppenheimer, that's literally the whole Oppenheimer-Strauss dynamic. And I think also, I will say one thing is, I wrote about this on Letterboxd, pretty fascinating that Hugh Jackman hasn't been in another Nolan movie. Kind of like felt like one of those guys that like I was thinking like in another universe he would have been an Odysseus for Nolan.
Yeah,
like, that
yeah, I was thinking
feels-
about that too, actually.
Yeah, that feels like a very like he would be in that movie. Although maybe he's got like Death of Robin Hood's like the closest. He's like, I guess this is the closest I get. But like Bale's worked with Nolan multiple times. Like this was before. This was before Batman's, right? No, this was after
Batman
Begins.
Begins had already come
Yeah,
out,
so
but this
he
was before
already-
the Dark Knight.
Yeah, so like he literally was like, "Yo, Kane, you, Bale, you, Jackman, no." And I'm curious, I because I think it is a pretty good Hugh Jackman, and like a very underappreciated Hugh Jackman performance, and also I think out
I
of
think
all
Hugh
the-
Jackman is just an underappreciated actor in general.
I think so. I think it's a weird mixture of just him not getting his flowers, him the Wolverine land of it all, and I think also sometimes like
Don't
the
talk
dud-
about him with the theater community because they apparently hate his guts.
Oh yeah, and then it just frankly also just the when he does a dud, it's just a dud, you know. And I think it kind of like coats his career. And a guy who came in a period where you're only as good as the last movie you did type of actor.
Yeah,
compared to now.
he's had a handful of duds. When The Sheep Detectives is the best movie you've done in years, that's crazy.
He's not bad in Death and Robin Hood, a movie that I think
I still
is
haven't
very-
seen it.
It's fine.
Yeah, I didn't love the
but
movie, but he's
good.
very good in it.
Yeah, he's very good in it. Like he is kind of dipping into the Logan well a bit, but
Definitely.
That
Yeah.
was the vibe I was getting from the trailers and
yeah.
everything.
it's not bad. But I think, he's good in this, and it's a fun movie, and the plot twist is like some of the most ridiculous Nolan shit ever, but also like, hell yeah, there's two of them. Why not? And it's fun. I think also like it's also got every Nolanism. We've talked about that. Like, we got the dead wife. Like the Rebecca Hall stuff is the most like underbaked shit where it's he's just now starting to get better with that. We'll see how it is in the Odyssey with the women in that film, and especially how Homer wrote a lot of those gods and characters in his life. From what I've heard and what I've seen, like it sounds like he's gotten the memo. But yeah, it's a good movie. And Pfister shoots the hell out of it. Like I think it might be the best looking Wally Pfister collaboration they did together, next to like The Dark Knight. And good.
I want to point out that Hugh Jackman was in 6 movies in 2006.
Jesus.
Wow.
X-Men: The Last Stand,
terrible.
Scoop, The Prestige, Flushed Away, which is an animated masterpiece.
Good movie, yeah.
Happy Feet, which is not an animated masterpiece.
I like it.
And The Fountain, which is an
hell
underrated
is he in
Aronofsky movie.
Who the hell is he in Happy Feet?
Yeah.
He's the dad.
Oh yeah, wow. Okay.
He's the dad to Frodo Baggins.
Wow. Okay. So yeah.
Frodo Baggins Penguin.
Look, he was getting a big year that year. He was getting the bag.
Flushed
So-
Away is a good movie. Very
Good
underrated
movie. Solid DreamWorks movie of that period. Very, very summer, hey, take your kids to the theater for a free kids movie energy.
Doesn't it deal with... Isn't the World Cup involved with it?
With DreamWorks or Flushed Away?
Flushed Away.
I have no idea.
Don't they watch like the World Cup or something in the movie? Yeah,
I
they
would-
watched the World Cup.
It's a movie I've not seen in so long.
Perfect
but, you know,
timing as the World Cup is happening
Yeah,
right now.
exactly.
There you go. It's topical. Yeah, I feel like Hugh Jackman like suffered the issue of too much success within being Wolverine, that he was so like indelible and good at it that it was just he was locked into that for 25 years and probably sacrificed doing a lot of other great projects that he would have really thrived in. But I mean, he still managed to have like a very varied career.
He
that we
did
think of him.
Prisoners, which is great.
Yeah, we think of him in those like
So
super macho roles, and then also like the showman, Greatest Showman kind of stuff. So he's a very talented guy, and I think he's great in this. I think he is great, but I just love Christian Bale so much. Like that's just one of my guys. Like I love when he gets to like just use his British accent for some reason. I don't know. I just love hearing him in that. And so yeah, I think that this is definitely, Gio, I think you called it out. Like this is such a great sort of primer for Oppenheimer, and just the idea of obsession, ego, kind of just being driven to something without even really questioning like what it's doing to your life, and the whole a lot of Nolan's films about are like work versus what that takes from your family life and what you sacrifice, which is obviously just a huge metaphor for being a film director, I'm sure. And so yeah, I think that's all played really well. I think I wrote in my Letterboxd review, I was like, I'm crying at the fan fiction I just wrote of Michael Caine telling Christopher Nolan one day, like, obsession is a young man's game. I won't be able to follow you any further in it. That's why he's not in like the recent films and stuff. So yeah, that's all there, and it looks really gorgeous. It's a very twisty movie. A lot of that does get a little bit goofy, and yet it takes itself so very seriously, as like most Nolan films do. And for some reason I think it works. Like I don't think it's incongruous at all. Like I think it really, the fact that they are taking this all very seriously, and it's about like magicians having a prank war, it kind of it just works. If they were playing it tongue in cheek, it wouldn't be nearly as effective. So yeah, you just buy all of it and you're just along for the ride, and it's a fun second watch just to try to catch all of the little hints that are in there and everything like that. So yeah, I think that it's got a lot to say, and it's just like a really, really, really great ride.
All right. So now that is at number 7. So now we're back to Geo. We're already halfway done with the list. Now we're in the top half. So what are you going to put in number 6?
This is where I'm going to start pissing some people off.
Oh, no. Don't do it.
And I'm just warning you.
Don't do it.
If you veto my pick, the replacement will equally be as upsetting.
Oh, no.
So I'm just warning you.
Oh, no.
I don't have a veto anymore, so Bryan, that's on you.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
Number 6.
Oh, no.
I'm putting Memento.
Oh, fuck you.
I'm putting Memento here.
Oh,
That's worse for Bryan than it is for me, but go
A
ahead.
film that I think is great, It was, the film that really got Nolan to a point where after his first two features, it was like, hey, or like after like it's his second feature, but really got his foot in the door. People being like, who's this guy? And he got the Oscar nomination for his screenplay. It's great. Really embodies the whole nonlinear thing. Guy Pearce is unreal. Talk about another actor I would love to see again in a Nolan movie. Especially, like, I think, God, he would be awesome in the Odyssey. I just think Guy Pearce in a post-brutalist world, I think we gotta, like, conjure, like, do a seance. I don't know what. That
Yes,
would
we
be
do.
amazing. I really enjoy it. It's not one that I revisit often, and that's blasphemous. I know this is very sacred text in Nolan's filmography. I also think for a lot of people and how they came to his work, because every plot twist of this movie is just like the wildest thing ever, and so many people are like, whoa, the way he wrote the screenplay, the way everything's pieced together, the aesthetic of Guy Pearce's character, it all caught on so quickly. But for me, and what I think of Nolan, who he is now, and what I like from him, it's smack in the middle. So that's why I put it at 6.
Brian?
Yeah. I'm
Also,
sorry.
again, very good movie. It's a very good movie. I just want to
absurd.
preface this.
Yeah, we're
But
talking
I'd
all
say-
top tier now.
Veto this. You're not going to like what I put there.
I have a hunch of what you're gonna put. I have a hunch because like I know you're not gonna put certain. I don't know.
You think,
I don't know
you
what
know?
you're gonna
Yeah.
do. Quite frankly,
You don't know. I'm a wild card.
Gia's got that look in his eye. I don't know.
Wow.
I'm scared.
I've put you in a very fascinating position. So, do you really want to risk it?
I've known you for so many years at this point. I know that there are certain movies that you absolutely would not put at number 6. I know that there would be it. I don't know. Number 6 is just so low for this.
It's almost
though.
top 5 though. That's good.
Yeah, but it's not top 5.
But it's almost. He's like right out the door knocking. He's
That's
like,
not
hey.
enough. That's not good enough.
He's got a tattoo of like number 6 right there to remind himself.
Yeah, Leonard's not going to remember what position it was
Yeah.
on the list.
Oh,
It's
stop
fine.
it.
Yeah, he's not gonna remember.
Oh, no. Yeah, but see, I kind of want to see how chaotic we're going to get. I want to see what position we're going to be in if Gio puts a different film at number 6. Like, I want to get chaotic.
Do you?
I don't know.
I kind of want to. I want to see the chaos. As long
just
as
wanna watch the world
as
burn?
long as the top 2 films are the top 2 films,
I
That's all
think the
that
top
matters.
2 are locked in.
I think the top
Frankly.
2 are locked in.
I hope so.
It's literally what are the next 4
Yeah, I think the
slots?
top 2 are locked. You know what? Yeah, fuck it. I want to sue chaos. Let's do it.
Veto?
Let's veto it, baby.
All right, then number 6 is now The Dark Knight.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. I told you. I told you. You didn't want to
you do?
listen.
The Dark Knight at number 6.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
Really?
really gravitate towards, and not that I like hate Superman movies. I think like
Oh,
The Dark
mother-
Knight is like one of the top tiers I mentioned earlier of like definitive works of modern superhero films in that genre. It's great. The Heath Ledger performance is one of the great things we witnessed. I remember seeing that, doing a double feature of that movie and Crystal Skull. That's hard. I was like 3rd grade. Or was it like me seeing Iron Man again after I
You didn't do the Dark
yeah,
Knight
same
Mamma
here.
Mia double feature?
No, I mean I was
Dark
like in
Mama?
3rd grade, man. I wasn't intentionally planning stuff
I wasn't
like
into
that.
ABBA.
Yeah, I wasn't rocking with ABBA. And it's great. Like the Dark Knight is something shifted in Nolan's career. He already had built up a Memento and he got the Batman gig, but I think the Dark Knight is the moment everything changed. And it's the moment where, especially when it didn't get nominated for Best Picture and got like 7 Oscar nominations, or like 8, something ridiculous. Where now, if that happened in this modern era, like you're automatically in Best Picture in a lineup of 10. That they were like, we need to do 10 Like, we need to increase the number. People are so upset, and it's understandable. And the legacy that movie has now, and the standard it's set that so many, like I touched on earlier, where everyone's like, we gotta make, like, our Dark Knight. Like, we gotta make something that, like, rivals this. And it's funny how, like, Iron Man, which came out that year, was, like, it's side A, side B of what that genre would become for the next 10 plus years or so, into where we are now and how we look at everything. We're kind of like, who cares? We're kind of over it. And also, they just don't really make superhero movies like they do for The Dark Knight, which felt singular, like, in this one thing. Like, if Nolan made that not as a second in a series, but as just, like, a Batman movie, you would be like, oh, yeah. Yeah, like, and it would stand on its own. And, like, the opening, everything about it, like, Nolan working, like, hey, discount Heat opening, where you even have William Fichtner in it, and he gets shot, the Heath Ledger introduction, the heist, I mean, the chase sequence when Nolan's experimenting in IMAX with that. I mean, we could just talk about Heath, like, the Harvey Dent of it all is great, and now we haven't even seen him in live action again until what we're about to see in the Batman Part 2 with Sebastian Stan. It's a classic. It's a modern classic. It has a great ending, and I think the reason why I would have put it at number 5 is because of what it represents in Nolan's career and what it goes forward. But now it's at 6 because Bryan had to get greedy and do the veto, and I warned him. And so now here we are.
I thought this was going to be top 2. I didn't expect this at all.
No, it's not top 2 at all for me.
It's top 2 for me.
I'm glad. It's
top
I
two
mean,
for me,
again,
it's not 2.
yeah. Well, now it's 6, so you guys get to enjoy.
Well, you know
that.
what? It's time that we finally ensue chaos on this pod. I feel like we're
Yeah.
always like, no, let's do what everybody wants. No, we had to get chaotic for once, and now
I didn't
here
know
we
we were
are.
potting with the Joker himself.
Yeah, you're like, do you want to know how I got these rankings?
Full disclosure, this isn't my number 1 Nolan movie, but yeah, I mean, everything you said, Gio, it's completely true. The Heath Ledger performance is an all-timer. It makes me sad every time I watch this movie knowing that he wasn't alive to celebrate his victory and everything. It just would have been so amazing to see the career he would have had after this. He was already having an incredible career prior to this. And I will always... I wish that I was more established as a film lover when this came out, because I can imagine for many people, they were like, why is the guy from 10 Things I Hate About You about to play the Joker?
But also, like, we were kids when it came out.
Yeah,
like, that's
course.
the thing where it's like you have such a... And I think that also plays into the absence of Heath Ledger, where recently, I think it was last year, it was last year, they did the Brokeback anniversary screening.
Yes.
And I'm watching Brokeback, and you kind of realize, like, I think it, like, slips on us that, like, when he passed before Dark Knight came out, he was only 28. Mm-hmm. He had that very, like, mature-looking face, whereas, like, this guy looks older. And when you're so young, like, the disparity of time, where it's like, I'm about to be older, or, like, the same age and soon older, hopefully. You know, like, you know, God willing, whatever happens in my life, you don't know. Than Heath Ledger. I think that's, like, a very crazy thing to think about. Like, he's been gone from us so long. And, like, the more you, like, start thinking about it, you're like, God, we were just touching the surface of, like, what he could have done. Like, he was nowhere near his prime. Yeah, he was nowhere near his prime. I mean, like, he's 28. Like, most actors don't even hit their stride until, like, way later in their life, especially for, like, male actors. So, like, that's just... It's just a tragedy. It's just one of those, like, what ifs you think about, like, man, what we could have had.
All the time. I always think about what Heath Ledger would have done if he were still around. But yeah, everything that you said, it's incredible, it's invigorating, it's exciting, it's funny, it's terrifying. Amazing performances all around. Obviously, outside of Ledger, like, everybody's great. All the returning players, all the new players. I brought Maggie Gyllenhaal. I teased her a little bit earlier. She's incredible as Rachel. Aaron Eckhart, all-time return as
pretty, like, one of his top-tier performances. Like, he doesn't get enough credit in this movie.
Listen, it's hard to top what Heath Ledger did as the Joker and even come close to that level. But Aaron Eckhart does not get the credit that he deserves, quite frankly, for the work that he did in The Dark Knight. It's really amazing stuff what he was able to do. And yeah, like all the Michael Mann influences throughout. It's a brilliant movie. I'll never forget watching this in the theater when I was a kid. I went with my parents, and I remember I looked over to my parents and I was just like, that was one of the coolest things I had ever seen. My jaw was on the floor. I didn't even want to get out of the seat. As soon as the credits rolled, I'm like, no, I want to stay and just let it simmer
run it
with me
back.
and everything. Yeah,
Run it
please
back.
run it
From the
back.
top.
It's truly one of the greats. A lot of people consider this the best superhero film ever made. It wouldn't be my number one superhero film, but it's absolutely top 3 superhero comic book movies that we have ever gotten for sure. So yeah, I know. I done fucked up by putting it in number 6, but hey, we all fuck up sometimes. Veronica?
Yeah. I mean, this one is this would have been my number 1. It's close, but this is just like it's definitely in the running for like movie I've seen the most in my life. There's a handful of movies definitely, but this is up there. And yeah, this one was, my experience with it. I had seen comic book movies. I'd seen superhero movies. I love the Sam Raimi Spider-Man and stuff like that. But this one was like, I was around 11 or 12 when it came out. And so it was not like super on my radar. And I remember it was summertime. My dad was like, I'm going to go see a movie at midnight. Like, do you guys want to come? To me and my sister. We were like, oh yeah, sure, whatever. And I was just, I had no expectations, didn't really think much going into it, and just blown away from something that I, didn't really have that prior connection to or anything. Obviously, you guys have talked about Heath Ledger, just co-sign all of that. Incredible. Like, one of the best performances, I don't know, of the century. Definitely is in that conversation. Just obviously just loved it at the time as just a roller coaster ride. It's so smartly and densely plotted, the way that everything sort of locks into each other, just the way that the heist in the beginning is plotted and all of the individual sequences and set pieces, that just blew me away on the first place. And then, you get older and you watch it more, and, you can definitely understand the levels it's operating on, just in terms of being a bit of an allegory for, and dealing with the idea of terrorism that we were, so reckoning with in the country. That, like, the fact that the Joker is this, he is, like we've been saying, he's chaos. Like, he is just, there's no way to satiate him. There's no way to bargain. Like, it's just this force of madness that is destructive, and it just. And we also see in the reaction to that, it's very much dealing with like the Bush era politics of the surveillance state we built in response to that. And it's, I don't know, maybe some people would, I think it doesn't outright condemn it or anything in like a very forceful sense, but I think you get enough of a sense that like, this wasn't great either. Like, we still have no good way to deal with forces like this in our society. And it just is this sort of horrible cycle of crime and death, and there's just no real easy way out. And so I don't know, I think that this is like just so of its time, and yet you can watch it anytime within the last however many years and it just slaps and it's relevant. And and the fact that the personification of this chaos and evil is like so likable and so watchable and so utterly compelling, because Heath Ledger was just a genius. I think that this is like a perfect movie watching experience. This is definitely, it's probably in the conversation for my favorite superhero movie of all time. So this should not be at number 6.
Gio, would you say this is your favorite superhero movie, or what is your favorite superhero film?
I mean, Burton's Batman's up there. It's not, the thing is though, The Dark Knight also, it's not my favorite Batman movie. Like,
It's not my favorite Batman movie either.
I really love the Matt Reeves, the Batman.
So do I.
I've seen that movie a disgusting amount of times.
Isn't it crazy that we're finally getting it now? Like, they're finally filming it now.
It feels like, until like, I've already seen set photos, but like, I mean, until like it's December and they play that trailer before Dune Part 3. I'm
gonna pee myself.
Yeah, I just like, it's just one of those things where I'm like, I don't believe it's true.
But seeing Robert Pattinson on the red carpet for the Odyssey and him and like Bruce Wayne, it's just like, it's surreal.
It's that thing though. I think that's also what put me lower on this, is that I just have other preferred Batmans. Like, I like Nolan's take on it, but like, I prefer like the detective who there's a bit more of the fantastical elements to it. Like, where I watch this and I'm like, it's so uber grounded in a way that I think works for this distinct flavor, but not really for what I like of the character, to like a point where like after this happened, after the Snyder snuff, before the Batman came out, I was like, I don't really care about Batman like that anymore. And then when they were like, oh, he listens to like Nirvana, he's got Kurt Cobain bangs, and I was like, fuck, okay, that's just pretty cool. I like that. And so
there.
like, yeah, so like, the Burton one I like. I have a deep spot for Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. I think is up there for me in terms of like superhero movies. But this is like top 3. Like it's up there. Like it's a great film, and I think on a rewatch it holds up immensely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the Batman. I like Matt Reeves' version. I'm excited for the next one, but yeah, it doesn't touch Dark Knight for me. I just the like operatic morality of it and stuff. When I was a kid, I remember being like the fairy set piece and everything of deciding. Like I was like, whoa, that like blew my mind. Like wow, that's really what would people do in that situation, and just that kind of stuff. I think in addition to I was flipping a fucking truck and everything and all of the all the spectacle.
Truck.
Yeah, all
I
this
think that might have been one of the first times I audibly said out loud, "What the actual fuck?"
It's so cool because it's Batman doing like the rotation move on the bike
on the wall.
off the wall, and then it's Ledger walking out and he's like stumbling around, accidentally firing the gun.
Yeah.
Hit me.
Yeah,
and I think like he genuinely means it. Like if Batman killed him right then, like I think that he genuinely would have been satisfied with that. That's the he's just such a great character. You can play out those games whenever you want. So.
And that fucking interrogation sequence too.
Oh, it's great.
Like what the fuck?
It's great.
How was this not nominated for Best Picture? That's just insane to me.
Yeah,
that's why totally changed the Best Picture structure and everything.
So thank you, Christopher Nolan, for that. Quite frankly,
for your service.
All right, we're now at number 5.
It's trapped here. So.
Is this where Veronica's going to bring back the film that was mentioned before?
I mean, yeah, I think it's Tenet time now.
Is it?
Gio does have a veto, but I that's all I can do for now. I'm nominating Tenet unless Gio has something else to say. Unless he has a pincer maneuver or whatever the hell that was called.
Temporal pincer movement.
Right.
Someone didn't lock in. Someone didn't study up. Come
on, Gio.
Can I ask what would you put if I veto it? Is that cheating?
That's cheating.
I
do wonder what Veronica would put if.
I will tease that my next one might be controversial.
Oh fuck! I think I know what that means.
I'm gonna save it then. I'm gonna save it. I will put 10 in top 5. I will save my veto because every time Veronica's whipped something out, I've just been gobsmacked. I will settle. Pages. I will, for the sake of the community, do it. But I would have put Tenet higher.
Fair enough. Well, go ahead and give your Tenet take then.
I think it just like what I mentioned earlier. It's just this puzzle box that you want to unlock, and like every complaint I have about it, I think kind of diminishes under rewatch. Like the John David Washington thing's fascinating because I've talked about this with Bryan, and I think. And many people in this industry who are movie stars of this era, they're only as good as the filmmaker they work with. And I think when John David works with the right person, he's good. I know the movie's not great. He's good at Malcolm and Marie. I think the piano lesson, is that what it's called?
Yeah, he's in that.
Yeah, he's good. I think he's a good performance in that. I think he's good in this. I do think there is a hint of woodenness that you feel probably comes off as a lack of characterization, but I think it's more so due to Nolan keeping a lot of the secrets away from the performers, and the way it's so constrict and how it unfolds kind of makes them have to work harder for the characters and gives them less to work with. And I think Pattinson kind of soars in that because he gets the more charismatic, fun side of it compared to how John David is the more stoic lead, and I think that balance also plays into the friendship dynamic, which I think is some of the strongest emotional stuff Nolan's ever done in his whole career. And I think that finale between them two is great, and I think the set pieces are some of the best shit he's ever done. I think if we talk and like the way I rank his movies also in consideration of importance, as I mentioned earlier, this came out at a very important time in his career. This came out during COVID. He had to strong-will Warner Brothers to not only put it in theaters at this time, but also not to put it on streaming day and date like they did every release that year. Because of this movie is the reason we have him working with Universal. It's the reason we got Oppenheimer. It's the reason we got the Odyssey. And like the the driving cars backwards, I think the temporal pincer movements, I think you want to talk about original gonzo sci-fi filmmaking. Does it make sense entirely? No. Is Aaron Taylor Johnson like firing because he's not a leading man, in my opinion, and he's great in like really meaty supporting roles? Yeah, he's awesome. Fiona Dorff of The Pit is in this movie just talking about temporal pincer movements and teaching them. Yeah, that's her. She's the one that's breaking down to everyone. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit, I had no
Elizabeth
idea.
Debicki's great. And he was like, dude, I need someone
so
really
tall.
tall.
And so fine. Oh my god.
I need someone really tall to open this car door as it's going backwards with their foot and to stop. Yeah, you know who can do that? Elizabeth Debicki. And she's great. And I think also this was like in a post-Night Manager world, and I was like craving for her to be in like that very espionage flavor.
Post-Night Manager, pre-The Crown, so very interesting time for
Kenneth
her.
Branagh, like, rocks. He's a good heavy. I think also this kind of, and I'm kind of upset he's not in the Odyssey. If I want, I'm way too early about our discussion of the Odyssey, but I'm nitpicking. That feels like, to me, he's coming up to become the new Michael Caine. Yeah. Where I think Kenneth Branagh is, like, the right guy for that. And, like, here he's, like, a Russian heavy who just is yelling all the time and looks cool. This is also the first movie that I think, you want to talk about significance, Nolan's swapping out a lot of people. Like, this is the second movie with Hoyte van Hoytema after Dunkirk, where he and Pfister kind of were like, okay, we're not doing this anymore. This is...
Oh, no, this is his third movie with Hoyt, because Hoyt shot Interstellar.
Oh, shit, yeah. Okay, so, like, they're deep in that.
Yes.
But this is also, if I'm not mistaken, this is for Ludwig's first, right?
Yes, this is.
And I think possibly the biggest, like, upgrade, and, like, this is, I'm saying that to Hans Zimmer, of all people, but I think Hans Zimmer also gets in a register that, like, we know what we're signing up for. If he's actually making the score, it depends on the movie, if his intern is doing it. Ludwig Göransson is kind of upgraded Nolan's work immensely. Like, the Tenet score is phenomenal. Jennifer Lane, like, editing in this movie is phenomenal. His Ludwig's Oppenheimer score is phenomenal. The stuff we've heard from the Odyssey so far sounds unreal. You got a Travis Scott song in this movie, the opera set piece opening, the fire truck heist sequence, the cars going backwards, the finale temporal pincer movement. This movie rocks. And I think the more you watch it, the better it, like, gets. And I mean, also, like, I ordered my hot sauce, like, an hour ago. So.
All-timer line.
It's great.
Yeah, this movie really is awesome, and talking about it more with Gio is just, like, reminding me of how good this film is. And it really is sad that this movie had the unfortunate situation of being released during the pandemic, where it didn't get a proper release and fanfare. But when they did that re-release a few years ago, and I remember going to the Lincoln Square IMAX, watching it on IMAX 70 with a sold-out crowd. Everyone was having the time of their life. Everyone cheered and applauded throughout the movie, and when the movie ended, it was just very eruptious. It was just, like, unlike anything that I had seen. I like John David. I don't really get the slander, personally. I think he's actually a much better actor than people give him credit for. R. Pats is wonderful in this. Elizabeth Debicki, oh my God, please be my wife. And everything else, like, I love everything that Gio brought up with Jennifer Lame and Ludwig Göransson and Hoyt. Just, you know, I'm very appreciative of his previous efforts with, like, Lee Smith and Hans Zimmer and Wally Pfister, but I think this new team that he has with all of his projects going forward, for some reason, I really gravitate towards that than I did with his earlier work, which is crazy because, you know, The Dark Knight is early on in his career, and that's one of his best, if not his best to many people. And, like, I don't know. I just find myself really appreciative of the work that these people are doing. And, yeah, Ludwig, just, oh, my God. Like, one of our best. Like, let's be honest. He's winning his next Oscar. It's already locked in. We already knew this was going to happen.
Like, it's unreal. I can't wait.
Like, I'm ready for what he does with that film. I'm so excited. And Hoyt's imagery, of course. I'm so excited for my eyes to witness it. But yeah, Tenet is very good. There's a lot of wonderful sequences throughout, and God, I just really want to rewatch Tenet again. I just oh
I was debating like while we were doing this to like just have it on in the background just as like background like
it's a good
no
idea.
audio. It rocks. Veronica, maybe
It
one day you'll get there, you
yeah,
know.
Veronica, I have a feeling that you will get there one day.
Maybe.
No, just
I
don't
know.
try to just feel it. Don't try to understand it. Just
Just
feel
feel
it.
it, yeah.
Just vibe with it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Yeah, I don't know. I just connect a lot more to ones that are not purely based on like visual and vibes, and I don't
And
know. I
that's
like
totally understandable. That's
Yeah.
totally fine.
Yeah. Well, you moved
But
up
it's
from
not low
11 to
tier
5.
Nolan, just to
11
let you
to
know.
5 is a
11 to
massive
5.
fucking
So congrats
upgrade.
to you both.
That took a lot of work. All right.
It did take a lot of work. So now we're back to me for number 4. I'm actually, you know what? I'm actually pretty happy with what we have left, quite frankly. I think number 4. So, I've seen each of the remaining films many times. I think for number 4, I'm going to go with the film that I haven't seen the most recent. I don't know if this is going to piss anyone off. It might piss off some people, but I think it being in the top 4 is a good spot for it no matter what. And I'm going to put Inception at number 4. Another movie that, again, I remember seeing it when it came out, blown away, had no idea what to expect from it. Seeing Leonardo DiCaprio work with Christopher Nolan was a huge deal. I wish that he would work with him again, but I'm glad that we have a Nolan-DiCaprio collaboration. I'm glad that that's out there in the spotlight. But yeah, the whole premise of going inside people's dreams and figuring out what's real and what's not, it's such a cool premise. It honestly should have won original screenplay that year. I can't believe that it didn't. But anything should have beat The King's Speech, quite frankly. But that's a different discussion for another time. Yeah, it's just one that I admittedly haven't watched in many years. It's probably been about a decade since I've seen Inception. And it's not that I don't want to go back to. It's just that for me personally, there's just other films in Nolan's filmography that I prefer over this. But great ensemble, beautiful visuals, fantastic Hans Zimmer score. Maybe my favorite Zimmer Nolan collaboration.
And he
Actually,
didn't
no,
win.
that's tough. That's tough. But the Saw Time is an all timer.
Yeah.
I still think about the ending constantly. It does have one of my least favorite edits in a Nolan film where she's plummeting to her death. It's embarrassing. It seems that Marion Cotillard unfortunately doesn't get the strongest moments in Nolan films. I hate to say it.
Not at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really cool. It's exciting. I wish I had more to say, but because I haven't seen it in so long, I feel like maybe you guys will have more to pick apart and talk about than I do. So yeah, I'm gonna put Inception at number 4. And Gio, you still have a veto. Would you move this
No, I'll
up
keep-
higher, or do you
no.
think this is good?
You know, to please everyone, I will keep it there.
Perfect.
I think it's smooth sailing from here on out. I'm fine with this. Because I do think it's a really good screenplay, and then, like, I don't mean this in a derogatory manner, but it's to a degree gets also a bit convoluted in like the best way, and like whether it's like some of the exposition or like the concept of it all, and it's like, well, we're in the dream, in the dream, in the dream, in the dream. We're like, okay, but like it's never tedious. It's very like engrossing each time, and just I do want to rewatch Inception. I remember vividly, what year was this? Like 2010.
2010.
I was like around 11, 12, and I was watching every trailer, and I was like, oh my god, like this was
The
nuts.
trailer
And I
for this
went-
is fucking spectacular.
and the score, yeah, and like I remember this, like seeing the trailer the first time, the teaser of like when Elliot Page and DiCaprio's characters are sitting at the cafe and the things start exploding, popping up, and like the road starts moving on. I just remember being young, like, oh, like in the theater, like, oh my god, look at my dad, like, we gotta go see that. And it's just one of those movies that I think holds up well. It's also like in the post Dark Knight world, like his first Best Picture nomination, where they're like, okay, yeah, like we kind of, and it was like a hit. Like, and like I like how you mentioned, it's also DiCaprio's someone who only really works with big name directors. He doesn't really take a chance on an indie or someone like that. And there's a reason why most of his movies are hits and not flops. And working with Nolan at this stage of his career which was already him being really massive, which is crazy to think about. Just Nolan then and Nolan now, who's even on like another fucking tier. It's great, and it's also probably one of the coolest ensembles he had. I don't think in terms of like how stacked it is, but I think they have a nice rapport with each other. It was like, you know, DiCaprio and Elliot Page and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who's far better in this than Dark Knight Rises, and Tom Hardy and Ken Watanabe and Cillian Murphy. Like, everything's just singing. And then, like, also the score, I think, is great. And kind of, I was also mentally like, man, crazy this didn't win score. And then I was like, what came out that year? And then I was like, oh, Social Network. I was like, yeah, never mind.
Yep.
Yeah, never mind. Yeah, it's fine. You're good. You're good. The Social Network. You already had one for Lion King, and I was like, that Social Network score is just brilliant. But yeah, a movie that deserved the wins it got. It looks cool. It's a good time. Great time in IMAX. I think 4 is a good slot.
And there's so many lines, shoot, that have stuck with me ever since I first saw it. There's one line from Tom Hardy's character where he's like, "You mustn't be afraid to dream a little bigger, darling."
And then pulls out like the...
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
And then Joseph Gordon-Levitt just stands there just looking confused and everything. Oh my God, I love it so much. Veronica, what's your stance on Inception?
If I had a veto, I probably would have used it here, but it's top 4. That's close enough, even though I would have had it a little bit higher. Yeah, this one is just like, I don't know, it just slaps. It's just like such a great, like just the perfect ideal of like a sci-fi, you know, high concept, well executed, sort of roller coaster ride. And you know, it to me, this is maybe the one that's most like kind of giving Spielberg, like it's kind of just you're just in it for the concept. I think that the, you know, obviously we have dead wife motivation galore here, but yeah. I think that it's you know, the characters are well drawn enough, the performances are fantastic, that I feel pretty emotionally connected to what's going on at any given time, even when it does get convoluted. And I think it's the kind of thing where you watch it through the first time or two, and it is like so mind-blowing, and you're kind of just trying to lock in and follow it and everything. But it is like a little bit sort of, once you get the concept, it is a bit simpler than it might seem on the surface. Yeah. And so then you can kind of just enjoy it and just you can just feel it. But yeah, I think that it's just so inventive, like you know, like you mentioned, the cafe scene, the just some of the visuals here. I like that it takes risks, and you know, the idea of, we've talked a lot about recent movies that are dealing with like multiverses or other universes, and it's kind of just like our world but slightly off. It's like the imagination here that a dream world would be so like otherworldly, like it would, you know, the way that dreams feel, which is a very hard thing to capture because everyone has a different concept of that. So yeah, just individual set pieces. You know, they did steal the rotating hallway from High School Musical 3.
There we go. I was purposely saving that
imitation is the
for you
highest
to
form
say
of
it.
flattery, so you know, I'll let it go. I mean, that's obviously, it was inspired by other things as well, but yeah, I think that just the idea of the dream becoming your reality and maybe wanting to just exist within that, like I think that's very Nolan-ish. That's very like, you know, questioning who you are really, and if it's worth the questioning, if it's worth that, or if you need to just kind of delude yourself. Like I feel like that comes up a lot for him. So yeah, I just think that and yeah, great call about the ensemble. You know, we've talked about now with Oppenheimer and the Odyssey, he can get whoever he wants, and he can have, you know, a list of 25 A-list actors who are going to sign up. But this is a you know, more tight-knit group that like works together throughout the movie, and yeah, and they just have a great rapport among all of them. The like fan fiction between Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Tom Hardy's character, I'm sure that was thriving. They have a great relationship and a great dynamic on screen. So yeah, this is for sure top tier for me.
All right. Gio, we're back to you. What is going to be number 3? We're at the top 3, and yeah. I think I have a feeling of how this is going to play out. I think I have a hunch.
And when no one has any more vetoes but me, right?
You do.
Right.
Yeah,
correct.
so then it works out perfectly. Memento, number 3.
There we go. This was my plan all along. This is purposely why I vetoed it, so it could be in the top 3.
Yeah, I already said my piece, so I know, Brian, you were very upset when I said this, or Veronica, if you guys want to elaborate.
I'll let Veronica go first with
first.
this.
Yeah.
I really like this. I hadn't seen it in a while and revisited it earlier today. Yeah, last night into today. And yeah, it's definitely, I mean, it's all there. I would kind of throw this in with Inception in the terms of just it's got that like concept that just hooks you. And in the hands of a lesser director, it could easily go awry. It could get, you know, just completely confusing, or just, you know, kind of turn in on itself, get up its own ass, whatever. But just the command that's here of the script and the direction and everything, the performances really guide you through. Joey Pants in this is like just. There's not a lot of humor in Christopher Nolan movies, but like he is definitely one of the best humorous characters while also being, you know, pretty sinister, which is, you know, something that he's great at. But yeah, the Guy Pearce performance, incredible. It's just, yeah, I think that it's kind of everything that Nolan does really well for the first time, really like kind of coming into full realization of his talent and his powers and his unique sort of perspective. And so, yeah, I definitely enjoyed this. This was, I knew I liked it, but it was definitely like solidified as one of the top movies for me.
So until a certain film many years ago, this was my favorite Christopher Nolan movie. And it's the one that I would frequent to. It's the one that I would analyze the most. I remember watching this for the first time in high school in a film class, and I was just so infatuated by this movie that I wanted to watch every analysis video online at that point. I wanted to read every single piece about this movie. I was obsessed with Memento over a decade ago, and my love for it, again, has grown and grown over the last few years. Guy Pearce, to me, that's top 3 performances in a Nolan movie. I agree with Gio of how it's crazy that he hasn't worked with Nolan again, and I would like to hope that maybe the film that he makes after the Odyssey, he gets to work with Guy Pearce again, especially now that he finally got an Oscar nomination, and he hopefully will be handed more wonderful opportunities to sink his teeth into. But yeah, Joey Pants, incredible villain. Every time I watch him in this, I just think of his incredible turn in The Sopranos. I just adore him so much. And the fact that he did The Matrix and this back-to-back, where he also played a slimy fuck in that movie too. Yeah. It's incredible. The range. No one plays a slimy fuck like Joey Pants. Just want to get that out there. But on this recent rewatch that I did, I keep forgetting that Harriet Sampson Harris is in this movie. So anytime she appears in any movie, but when she appeared in this, I was just like, bueno, fantastico. So yeah, everything you guys said, like the screenplay is phenomenal. Got nominated for best screenplay that year, should have won, but they gave it to one of Robert Altman's worst films, in my opinion. And yeah, the originality, the uniqueness of it, it's crazy that all this came out of one person's head, and it delivered a showcase that told people that you need to keep your eye on this guy and look at the career that he's had since. So yeah, Memento at number 3 is a great spot. It's number 3. Yeah, actually no, it's number 2 in my personal ranking. So number 3 is perfect enough for me here.
Yeah, I had it at around 4, so this is good for me.
Right.
Good enough. All right, number 2, baby.
My pick next. All right, I don't really know if this is a consensus or not. I'm going to go. We're deciding between 2 of them here. For the number 2 spot, I'm gonna go Interstellar. Is that a consensus or not?
Yeah.
Okay. I personally, this actually would have been several slots lower for me. I do like it. I revisited it a few months ago, and it been in my mind. It had been like, I saw it when it came out. I liked it, but wasn't obsessed. And I just feel like it's gotten even just more reclaimed as a masterpiece as we go further from it. So yeah, I hadn't revisited it in a while until a few months ago. So I love just about everything in this. There's some things, there are like some really, really high highs for me. I kind of really click with everything in the beginning of this movie, you know, when we're on Earth and in this dilapidated state, and the environment is collapsing, and I like the sense that's created there. I think Matthew McConaughey just like fits perfectly into that. And then a lot of the space stuff is very cool, and I do feel like it kind of peaks emotionally in the call with Murph and his incredible performance there, and Jessica Chastain's as well. And then from there, I don't love the ending. You know, I think that it's some people I'm sure ride for it. I think that it's kind of universally considered a weaker part of the movie. I kind of just feel like either, it relies on a very scientific and sort of cerebral conclusion, but it's based on something that is kind of really sappy, and like that's fine. I don't mind that, but I almost wish you went the one way or the other. Like either lean more into that and make it like kind of ring out that emotion there, or just structured a different way. So I kind of don't love like his last moment with Murph when it kind of just feels like, okay, cool, I'm gonna find Anne Hathaway. Like so I'm nitpicking. Those are like the kind of issues that I have with it, but overall, I mean, I love all of the performances. The sequences are on the water planet incredible, like the movement of the robot and everything. That's voiced by Bill
Tars.
Irwin, and Tars, and voiced by him, and he did the physical movement and everything. So yeah, a lot of this design is really firing on all cylinders, and like I totally get why it's such a classic for everyone. I have little nitpicks, but I do still really love the movie overall.
So I had only seen this movie twice. I saw it opening day when it came out. I remember I went with my mom to go see it, and I liked it overall, but I wasn't in the love it train. And then I revisited it 10 years later. I actually went with Gio and friend of the pod, Ezra, to go watch it on IMAX 70 when they did its 10th anniversary re-release. And my whole perspective on this changed, quite frankly. 10 years later, like, I'm more expansive with my film knowledge. I've matured as a person. And I think it's safe to say that this is Nolan's saddest movie to date. Like, this is a really sad movie. And watching it in that packed crowd with you guys and my friends and everything, I was just such a mess watching it and understanding the deeper meaning of it. I totally get why the ending does not work for everybody, because that was one of my problems when I first saw the movie. I remember not really vibing with the ending, but when I rewatched it, it works for me completely. And yeah, everyone talks about the phone call sequence. That might be McConaughey's best acting ever. Like, that's up there for his best work ever. But yeah, Veronica, you pretty much nailed it. I don't really have anything else to add. Like, it's beautifully constructed. Was Hoyt's first collaboration with Nolan, and the imagery is so beautiful. And the usage of practical effects, how there's very little CGI, not just with this, but with all of Nolan's movies. It's very seamless. I like how they went to an actual snowy environment to make it look like an ice snow planet, and it was very impressive. The Matt Damon role of it all. Sorry to anyone listening. If you haven't seen the movie at this point, that's your problem. But
that was just such a biggest, when you first saw the movie and they didn't actively, or Matt Damon's in this. It was
they hit him from all
holy
the marketing.
shit.
Yeah, it was brilliant, because I remember reading an article a year before it came out, and they said that Matt Damon was in it, but they didn't say who he was, what capacity he had in it. Then when he wasn't in the trailers, I'm like, isn't Matt Damon supposed to be in this? Maybe that was just a rumor. And then when he showed up and he emerged from the pod, I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, wait, now he's here. And I love that now he's finally getting to lead a Christopher Nolan film, so it's really incredible to see him go from this to Oppenheimer, then to the Odyssey.
He's still trying to get home.
Still trying to get
Damon's
home.
always stranded somewhere needing to get home.
The Odyssey, Interstellar's the Odyssey. It is, Coop is Odysseus, and he was sent on a journey and a calling that he felt obligated to do so, and despite
this is literally the Odyssey before Christopher Nolan decided to make the actual Odyssey.
Yeah, it's the Odyssey is this film that he's always been working towards, and him returning home.
Yeah, there's been sprinkles of it throughout all these movies and everything. Yeah. Now that you bring that up, now I'm starting to notice that.
And
it's incredible. I don't know what else there is to say about this movie, quite frankly. It's the most emotional that I've ever gotten watching a Nolan movie. Mm-hmm. The performances, the visuals, the score, the editing. Hans Zimmer, this would have been a good time to also reward him a second Oscar. The editing, the imagery, just all around phenomenal stuff. And yeah, I was really glad I went to that IMAX 70, because it really put into perspective of how this is top tier Nolan for me now.
That was the first time I saw the movie, I think, since it came out.
Same, yeah, so, same. That was the first time for me as well.
Of when you're 15 to when, or 20, or 16, and you're now 26 watching it. I was like, holy shit! Everything, perspective wise, switches, and also a movie that rings to. You want to talk about the most meta thing? Coop is also Nolan. He's the guy that has to go and make movies, and it's his calling, like how Coop is called to be in the stars and in space as a pilot, and the pain of being away from your family and like working on film sets and coming back to them. And I like, as I mentioned, like it's what tides through. It's not. It's essentially like a loose adaptation of the Odyssey. Also, the like capstone of this mini 2 or 3 year McConaughey renaissance, where he just was like Dallas Buyers, Wolf of Wall Street, True Detective season 1, Interstellar. Before he was like, I'm either gonna do voice acting, some mid movies, or I'm doing Lincoln ads, and I just stay home. Yeah. He kind of, and now he's starting to like be like, man, I kind of want to act again. Like he did The Rivals on Messiah King, which is really good, and he is phenomenal in. Or he's about to do the new Park Chan-wook film, which The Brigands of Rattle Creek, which is something I've been looking forward to for a very long time with that ensemble. But like he's starting to like push himself back there again, which is great because I'd rather him do that than talk about AI, which I find incredibly annoying, as did Chalamet in the CNN town hall. But like, yeah, he's great in it, and Anne Hathaway is like returned to like her second time around the whole Nolan escapades, and like what I mentioned earlier, like how so many young people gravitated, like this is the movie that'd be like, holy shit, movies, like in a way, like I don't think it is comparable in terms of like, frankly, the quality of the film or the impact, but it's kind of like this generation's 2001 in a way of like young people watching it and just being like, what's that? What? And like the being pulled into film in that manner. I mean, again, like I not to diss Nolan, is my number 2. I think it's his second best film. Like it's 2001 is 2001, but yeah, it's great. It's very emotional. A guy who got like very lampooned when the movie came out about how emotional it was, like it was like cake rated 2 of like the guy's not an emotional filmmaker, kind of like Fincher, where they're like, oh, he's too cold. He's kind of like removed. There's not always an emotionality through it, and if there is, it doesn't work. And then a movie where it's like the most hard on your sleeve. Like you mentioned, Veronica, the scene when he's watching the tapes of Coop. Like that's the most out of like entire Nolan's filmography, a scene like made there for you to cry as the camera sits and you watch McConaughey break into tears. Also, the movie that helped launch or like sprinkle little blueprints for Chalamet. We're talking about blueprints that happen throughout people's career, and also very scary use of Casey Affleck, which I think Nolan understood something that maybe we all didn't at that time.
I was gonna say, thank God.
And he doubled up in the next film we'll talk about too. So, yeah.
Thank God that Timmy didn't grow up to be Casey Affleck. At least not yet.
And then just a crazy inclusion of someone who I never thought would work with Christopher Nolan, Topher Grace.
Yeah. Also, is this the last good Jessica Chastain movie? Not to diss your girl.
I mean, I like Molly's Game, but I don't love it, so it's. I mean,
to be clear, she's
like,
good in
everything. When was like
but...
the last great Jessica Chastain was in?
Well, I'm looking that up right now. As
maybe like a Most Violent Year. I really like.
That was the same year as this, though.
Yeah. Okay. So like, was this like the Chastain apex? Like, it's wild to say for an actress who won an Oscar.
I mean,
but for a very forgettable film.
From we talked about 2011, which was really her like announcement year, and I feel like from then to 2014 was she was
because she already had Zero Dark 30 out of her belt.
I mean, she did The Martian the following year, but that's Matt Damon's movie, obviously. So,
like, I'm looking at the filmography now, and it's
Molly's
like,
Game might be the last thing I really.
The best thing
liked.
she had, maybe, and it's not even. I don't even think it's that great of a movie, but like at least in terms of success, It Chapter 2.
It Chapter Poo.
Yeah, I mean that
Armageddon Time. I think like she's great, but it's a cameo.
I like
her film, and then like the Scenes from a Marriage remake.
I was gonna say it's not a movie, but Scenes from Marriage went platinum in my house.
I'm still waiting for that TV show that they didn't release.
The Savant. That's never coming out.
I'm still waiting for that. I would have liked to have seen that. It looked really promising.
Keep waiting. That thing is locked, key, and vault.
She's supposed to do a show with Adam Driver. They announced that like a year ago, and that's never gotten off the ground, which disappoints me because that's my favorite actor. So it's, but she is doing the drama series with Ben Stiller for Apple. So
Yeah,
that
sure,
that could
man.
be
But
interesting.
you're right, Gio. We got to get her in another big.
We kind of
again.
need to. We need like her and Amy
Yeah.
Adams. I don't know what's
I was just
redheads
about
in
to
this
say-
industry. Redheads in this industry, they've
Redheads
kind of
unite.
like apexed, and we're
Yeah,
like,
what the fuck? Why are we treating our
you know,
fellow redheads like
it's
trash?
funny we're saying this because, like, I mean, low key, Anne Hathaway went through the same thing, and now she's kind of like dust off the shoulder. She's like,
Yeah.
like, I'm Anne Hathaway, and now this year she's done like 5 different movies.
And she announces she's having the
6, I
child.
think.
Yeah, and she's having like she's kind of like now she's apexing again, which is again crazy because she has an Oscar already.
I did like Mother's Instinct with both of them, but that was obviously not like.
I
movie or
I didn't
anything.
like that movie
I thought
at
it was
all.
fun.
I liked
I
Mother
did not
Mary.
enjoy that.
That had one of them.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, Interstellar number 2. All right, here we are. The number 1 pick is the correct pick, quite frankly. So, with that being said, number 1, Oppenheimer, his most recent film, obviously, the film that finally got him labeled as Oscar winner, Christopher Nolan. What can be said about Oppenheimer that hasn't been said already these last few years? This is what I feel his entire career was building up to. And I remember I saw the movie opening night, and after it ended, I looked over to my friends and I'm like, I think we just saw his magnum opus. I think that this was literally everything that he had been building up for, and it was a very, like, to get an epic drama like this that is 3 hours long, rated R, partially in black and white, a lot of talking, not a lot of action. I am so impressed that this film was the massive success that it was. Now, Veronica brought up that, yes, the Barbenheimer does have a partial effect. It does make me wonder how much this movie would have made financially if Barbie didn't happen to come out the same weekend. It makes me
It
wonder.
helped, but I think if the movie was not as good as it is, it wouldn't have gone that far.
Right. But, I mean, it almost made $1 billion, which is incredible for an R-rated movie that isn't based on an IP or based on some, like, you know, popular material. This is a true story, and, you know, for him to do a biopic, he was the perfect person to bring this material to life. And I have since read American Prometheus, which is a gorgeous read. I loved it so much I couldn't put it down after I read it. And I was like, I could just see why Nolan was so infatuated by this. And, you know, without Robert Pattinson, we probably wouldn't even have this movie. So thank you, Robert
Tenet.
Pattinson.
Thank you, Tenet.
Tenet. See, Veronica,
The
something
best thing
good
that
did come
Tenet
out of
did.
Tenet. But no, it's an incredible film, and what it says about mortality and, you know, regrets, themes that I didn't think that Christopher Nolan would even tackle. The nonlinear structure is gorgeous. Jennifer Lame's editing is phenomenal. Of course, the imagery by Hoyt is incredible. Lulick's score is out of this world. And then the performances, holy shit, the performances are just something else. I am so happy that Cillian Murphy won the Oscar, even though I've said this before on the pod and to Gio and to Veronica separately.
Giamatti, you wanted
Giamatti
so
is my guy. I would have loved to have seen him win, and I think he would have been a great winner. But you couldn't reward Oppenheimer all these Oscars and not reward Cillian Murphy.
It might work
would
out
have been,
this year, because then if he wins for the debut,
Oh, I am
you know,
ready for that. I'm so
everything.
ready.
And sometimes
I
things
need
just
that
work
to
out.
happen.
Sometimes things just plan out, and it was like when that thing I remember that year being like, especially at NIF, man, and it was like one of the few times festival hype got me, where when I saw Maestro and you see the scene of him conducting, you're like, fuck, is Coop gonna finally do
Is
it?
Coopsy
Especially 'cause
going to
he's
go
like-
the distance?
Yeah, because he's like 11 noms deep.
But then
And
you
I
remember Cillian
yeah.
Murphy.
Well, it's also that thing where I was like, oh, I just thought it was too cool of a performance. Like, I thought it was so great, and that was my favorite male performance that year. But I just didn't think they would go through with it. And then once, like, the movie started steamrolling the way it did, and he started picking, I was like, oh, wow, they're actually going to do it. And it's a great win. And Cillian Murphy is just brilliant in it. I think, it's his best performance next to, like, what he's done on Peaky Blinders. Like, he's brilliant.
It's the best acting he's ever done. It's the best performance.
Robert Downey
certainly.
Jr.
Robert
You can
Downey
argue.
Robert Downey Jr. is great. I think Matt Damon is actually very underrated in this. I like his performance a lot.
The Grove scene when they introduce one another and they're
Yep.
doing that very punchy back and forth.
It's so good.
And then the Ludwig score, the Grove's needle drops in the back. I think also this is the first. And this is the thing where I've known Nolan's been great with ensembles, and we mentioned Inception and stuff. But I think this movie did take me aback how watching everyone come, it felt very classic. Like, I mean, the movie that it got compared to and the one I thought, it was like JFK. Where like, you just had people come in for one scene, hit a fucking home run, and then be like, all right, I'm off to...
Rami Malek, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, Rami Malek hasn't really been consistently great, I think, in years. And then he comes in as great. But, like, the people like David Krumholtz. David Krumholtz is, like, my favorite supporting performance in that movie.
He's amazing in this. He's
Josh
incredible.
Hartnett, who
It's
is
the
kind of...
fact that it's the fact that, like, by nature of the story and everything, you basically have a bunch of, like, white men in suits, like, coming in and out. But, like, he cast it so well with people that we know or people who just make an impression that you're never confused, or you're never, like, everybody leaves their mark in, like, the perfect way without overstepping.
Yeah, Florence Pugh is great for when Emily Blunt's really good. Like, she gets her moment. Jason Clarke is so damn good and just pissing you off. Benny Safdie is great. Like,
Kenneth Branagh for his short time.
Kenneth Branagh, when he goes in the beginning, like,
can you hear the music, Robert?
Not even that, but the part where he goes, where he goes, and he like drags out the syllable. Like, it's like every line reading in that, and I think also pretty instant. I remember seeing it. I did. Obviously, I'm assuming we all did Barbenheimer that day.
Yes.
I saw Barbie first, because I don't know what it was. I think it was like a few weeks before where I felt something. I was like, I think Oppenheimer's gonna, like, and I was like already excited for it.
You can't start with Oppenheimer. You have to start with Barbie.
And we started with Barbie.
I started
it's
with
fun.
Oppenheimer and then Barbie.
The ending of like, I just remember sitting at the end of Oppenheimer. I think when the "Can You Hear the Music" moment happened, the score plays, and me and my friend looked at each other like, oh. Like, I think the beginning when they do the Prometheus intro, the title cards, I was like, oh. And there were so many moments where I just was like, oh. Like, you felt like you were witnessing something special. And then the ending happens. And I just sat there, and the score is playing, and I think that was one of the few times in recent, like, and it doesn't really happen to me often, where I sat at the end of the movie, and I just sat there, and I was like, fuck. And, like, just like gobsmacked, and I was like, and I think instantly it is one of the most rewatchable movies in like some time that has come out. Like, that movie is, and it's crazy because
it's so fucking long. It's
3 hours. I saw it 10 times in theaters. Like,
but the editing and the pacing, is just because so good.
Yeah, it's very propulsive. The way it cut, like the whole sequence when Strauss is coming to the meeting when they're deciding about Russian has nukes, and they're like, we don't know that Russia's like, Robert, the proof is here, and like the score just fucking crescendos, and they're walking on the football field, like, it's just immaculately edited, like, it's just talking about it, just like, it's one of those movies, you know how you have a great movie, this is a very Ringer, Bill Simmons-esque mindset to it, that like, when you can just randomly you're at work or you're bullshitting and you're like YouTubing scenes, and you could just watch like scenes all over, be like, yeah, and then you're just like, fuck it, all right, and then you just fired it up, and you can watch it at any point in that movie and you will just finish it to the end.
It's the fact that, yes, of course, there's like, there's the Trinity test scene, which obviously is visually and sonically stunning and everything, but the fact that this movie made so much money, was such a hit on IMAX and giant screens, and like, it's primarily people talking in rooms. Like, it is on paper, it doesn't seem all that cinematic at all, but the fact that I think it was so important just like for that reason alone. Like, it was just an important movie to come out at that time where it was like, yeah, we do want to like see people debate these heady issues and deal with these historically contentious times and everything, and it it has that sort of element of spectacle, but the spectacle is Cillian Murphy's face on an IMAX screen. Like, that
people kept coming back. Like, even people who aren't into movies like the way that we are, like, there were people in my personal life who went to see this multiple times in the theater because of what you just said. They were so hooked by the fact that this is a talking drama, and they don't usually care about that, but they were so engrossed and so captivated by it. And it makes me wonder, could anyone but Nolan have pulled this off and done it the way that he did? Probably not.
Well, yeah, and I think his skill, that sort of middle section where they're sort of getting on board with building the bomb, it has all of the hallmarks of like a superhero movie or a heist movie, and you're building the team, and you have that moment where Oppenheimer like puts on his hat.
He's
and
suiting up
it's
like he's
it's
Batman.
suiting
Oh
up,
my
yeah.
God, so
It's really
badass.
suiting up, and just we're so trained on those kinds of movies, and Christopher Nolan does it better than almost anyone, that you can apply that with this completely different context and different content too, and it's just like it just so works, and it keeps you completely hooked even while you're just watching these bunch of people talk in rooms, but it's just so propulsive.
It's incredible, and this is going to go down as one of our greatest Best Picture winners. I mean, this was for me one of the rare times where the Academy rewarded the Best Picture of the year, the Best Picture Oscar. Like,
And
it's a
that's saying
rarity
something,
where
'cause that
my
year
favorite.
was
It's a
stacked.
rarity where
That's a
my
great
favorite
year.
film of the year wins Best Picture. It's only happened maybe like 4 times in my lifetime, and this was one of those times. And I'm so glad that they did. And when Nolan won the director Oscar, I was just so excited because we've talked about how this guy has been around pretty much our entire lives making movies, and to see him finally be handed this victory and handed his flowers and sweeping that entire season, cleaning up and getting every award, it just made me so happy as a longtime fan. And to see a movie like this have the success that it had, not just critically, not just financially, but awards-wise, I was so happy with it. And again, I made this joke on the pod, and I'm going to make it again. Never in my life did I think that Josh Peck would be in the Best Picture winner. So... and doing a very important thing by pushing the button. So kudos to him for doing that. But yeah, it's just it's one of the best films of the entire decade. And when the decade ends, this is going to be in my top 5 of the 2020s.
I'll also call out, I think that there were some criticism of the movie was like the idea of it not contending with or dealing with the like Japanese perspective. I personally like thoroughly disagree with that. I think the power of it is that we are so in the psyche of Oppenheimer and the men who made this, and the idea of just pushing forward without stopping to consider those consequences. And I mean, we get so many indications that like Oppenheimer is a coward. They show them footage of the effects of the bomb at some point. We visually see him like look down and not take it in. And the probably my favorite scene of the movie is when he's giving that speech where everyone expects him to be all rah rah, we did it.
God.
And the way it gets all surreal, and Christopher Nolan's daughter herself is playing the visualization of what happened to the people from the bomb. Like,
Fucking brutal
to me,
decision. And I think that was her
Yeah.
decision. I think she said, let me be in this scene, which probably made it all the more effective
I'm
for
like,
him
to
as
me
he
that
was
is so much
directing it.
more effective than if we
Yeah.
got some mangled Japanese bodies. Like, that would have been intense, of course, and accurate, I guess. But to me, that's just like it's a more interesting way into the psychology behind the men who did this.
Yeah, I mean, what else is
movie.
there to say?
It's a perfect movie.
Is it your number one of the decade right now, Gio? It's
up
probably
there.
it's in the top 5 for me.
It's up there because One Battle's up there and Flower
One
Moon's
Battle,
up there. And,
yeah.
2023 that was just
23
a
was
year
great.
where it was like Zone of Interest. I think it's in my
Zone of Interest.
like Flower
That's what
Moon's up there. Like Nickel Boys is up there.
Oh,
All of Us Strangers.
Yeah, there's a lot of good shit so far this decade.
There's a lot of good
But
shit.
Oppenheimer
Thing.
is definitely like when it was winning everything, I was like not bored at all. It swept because I was like,
oh
yeah,
no,
this is,
neither was I.
yeah, I was like, this is the best. So yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
All right,
it's-
I think we did
it's
it.
Like that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
We did it. We did it, everyone. So now we're gonna recap our list. So coming in, here we go. Number 12, Insomnia. Number 11, Following. Number 10, The Dark Knight Rises. Number 9, Batman Begins. Number 8, Dunkirk. Number 7, The Prestige. Number 6, the not-so-controversial pick of The Dark Knight.
R.I.P.
Number 5, Tenet. Number 4, Inception. Number 3, Memento. Number 2, Interstellar. And number 1, Oppenheimer. Honestly, aside from my fumble midway through the draft, I think this is a great list, quite frankly.
Pretty good.
I also should not have used my veto on the Prestige. I should have left that where it was, but
No, you did.
You live
It's
and
okay.
learn.
It worked out perfectly. It worked out for me. 10 at top 5.
And it worked out for me, Memento top 3. So it all worked out perfectly. So that's it with our list. But now we should just take some time, take a couple of minutes to just talk about how excited we are for the Odyssey. I mean, like I said, we're just days away from seeing it. It feels surreal that it's finally here, and a Christopher Nolan film feels like an event. So, I mean, how excited are we for it? Gio, how excited are you for it?
I think I'm pretty excited. It's my number one of the year.
Damn, I should have grabbed my ticket. It's all the way on the other side of the room.
It's my number one. I've literally been quick story. I remember December of, I want to say, what was it, 23? Like early 2024, like that holiday season when they announced Nolan's new film. Whatever, or no. Whatever year they announced it.
2024.
Yeah, that holiday season. I was visiting my mom. I was reviewing for the site I write for The Return, which in that year they made a Odyssey film, but mainly the third act. It's with Ralph Fiennes. It's the movie that he got like insanely yoked for no reason. And
it's that movie?
Yeah, it's for The Return. It's literally he's Odysseus, and Juliette Binoche is Penelope.
I had no idea that was.
It played at TIFF that year when we went, and
That's right.
Yeah, it wasn't great. And I remember being like, I think what the thing about the Odyssey, despite this grounded approach, is that like it's such a grand mythical epic, and like all the parts of it make it so fascinating. And not even like 2 days later, because it was at that period where we knew Nolan had a new movie, like it was going to be announced relatively soon. We knew Tom Holland was in it, but a lot of people were like, "Oh, is it a horror movie? Is it the Blue Thunder? He's doing Blue Thunder. You know, what is it?" And I just remember Universal posting, Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, IMAX 70mm, and the date. And I was like, dumbfounded. Because I remember to the point where people were like, certain influencers stuff were like, "Oh, what's The Odyssey?" And like, oh, I was like, this is for me who read this in 8th grade, who locked in. And so now I've been only like just preaching the chorus to like whenever like I visit family or stuff. I'm like, you don't get it. This is like the biggest blank check film we've had in some time, where a filmmaker at the height of their powers is getting to do whatever the hell they want. And like literally no one could say no, because it's Christopher Nolan. And he is getting this massive ensemble, which frankly bigger than Oppenheimer, which is wild to think about. He's filming in like 6 different countries, entirely on IMAX 70. Brand new camera technology in terms of with the blip to make it quieter, to keep audio so it's less ADR. And it's The Odyssey. It's the greatest story. It's like up there with like the Bible and One Piece, you know, of like those some of the biggest stories ever told. And so like I'm massively like the only other film close to me, I mean, I'm very hyped for Dune, but like Cliff Booth is my number 2 for personal reasons, or like 1B. But no, the Odyssey, like I've reread the Iliad. I'm rereading the Odyssey right now. Shout out to Fagel's translation. I know a lot of people are doing the Emily Wilson route, but it's just something I remember reading, and it's one of those formative like classic literature novel or epics that you read and like you see it everywhere. It's like Hamlet. It's like Romeo and Juliet. It's just, it's in everything you see. And so many stories told have recycled this. Nolan has, like we mentioned already here, has already done The Odyssey, if you think about it. But he's doing a tried and true adaptation. And I'm fascinated. I just never expected him to finally pull the trigger on like a Swords and Sandals epic that harkens to like films of the 50s and like these like very Charleston Heston like grand epics that we don't get anymore. And I think, like, if you love film, even if you're not the biggest Nolan fan, you should be excited that something like this exists.
Veronica?
Yeah, no, totally, definitely feel the same way. Yeah, you mentioned the epic feeling of it, and I think that's something that Oppenheimer benefited from, like the fact that it was a 3-hour movie, and the Odyssey's clocking in a slightly shorter, but you know, pretty long run time. I think that you need something like that in order to feel the like expansiveness and to make it feel epic, to feel the passage of time. And you know, if this is as well edited and paced as Oppenheimer and most of his other movies are, then you know, I really just think that this is going to be just something really special. And yeah, the cast assembled. I'm just so excited too. I have a ticket for IMAX 70mm at 3 a.m. which
Holy
I'm honestly
shit.
stoked for. I'm honestly so excited. I'm
Oh
a night
my
owl.
God.
I don't mind. I'm gonna like take a nap and I'm gonna wake up and go see it at 3 a.m. and emerge from the theater at 6 a.m. when like everyone else is going to work and yeah, I'm just like I honestly love seeing for this, for any big blockbuster release. I mean, I definitely care about the film formats. Like, it's something that I'm interested in, and it's not like my number one requirement when I'm seeing a new movie, but I kind of like to do it because purely for like the energy of it. I just really love to, the Lincoln Square Theater. It almost feels like you're going to see live theater or a concert or like you're at a convention or something. Like, you just know that everyone there cares very deeply and is going to be excited and attentive. And so I'm just excited for like the energy. Like, I really just think anywhere here around New York or any other big city that, is very movie centric, I just feel like the energy here is going to be like incredible. And it's something that everyone is going to be talking about. Everyone's going to be seeing multiple times. So yeah, I'm just ready for the like event of it all besides the actual movie itself. And I hope it's as good as the other great adaptation of the Odyssey, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Because that's a high bar to clear. I love that movie.
Yeah, it's crazy that, we're the two greatest adaptations of this material will be Oh Brother, Where Art Thou and the Odyssey. Just, it amazes me truly. Yeah, I'm very excited for this as well. I can't believe that it's finally here. It's crazy. Like Gio said, I remember when it was announced and everyone was like, what's Nolan's next movie going to be? Matt Damon's Leon, interesting. Tom Holland's in it. Okay, cool. Odyssey adaptation, fuck yeah, that sounds incredible. And everything that we've seen so far has gotten me excited. All the reactions so far have gotten me excited. It's going to feel surreal sitting in the theater in just a couple of days watching what's surely going to be another phenomenal entry in Nolan's filmography. I can't wait. I have a ticket for IMAX 70 as well. I'm so excited. I love just going out and watching things on these special formats, and Nolan is one of those guys that I will always make sure I watch whatever he puts out on IMAX 70 because that's how it's intended to see his movies. And if you live somewhere where you have a theater that showcases IMAX 70, please do yourself a favor and go check it out. Don't be one of those people that's like, oh, I'll just watch it on digital. No, you need to go watch it in a premium format because you're just going to regret not doing that if you pass on that. So, yeah, the excitement is through the roof. That's going to be our next episode where we review the Odyssey, and yeah, I can't wait. And when Veronica texted me that she got a ticket for her 3 a.m. screen, I'm like, I would fucking never do that. I kind of miss the days of the midnight screens.
But that was too much.
That's insane. I don't even think I could ever do that. I'm at the point now where I can't stay up past like 2 a.m. anymore. So I don't know if I would have been able to successfully do that. But
I can't fall asleep before 2 a.m. So yeah, I'm going to be fine. I just need one little nap and I'll be all set.
That's just, I'm so excited. It is, oh my God. It's crazy that it's
like
finally here.
You mentioned it. It's an event. It's like this thing we've been waiting for. And like, it also feels like this whole summer blockbuster season has been catered around. Like, Spider-Man comes out, like, 2 weeks after, and, like, I feel like besides it being Spider-Man, it's tracking to open, like, stupid numbers. Like, the Odyssey is, like, movie of the year potential, where everyone's like, holy shit, guys.
Yeah.
I think it's so exciting, too, that, like, Tom Holland is in two major blockbusters this summer. The year of Zendaya, the year of Anne Hathaway, the year of Robert Pattinson. Like, all the ingredients are here. It's just... Everything is there, and I'm so excited, and just everybody that's in this movie, too, I can't wait. I'm so excited. And I said this to Veronica, too. I'm just really excited to see Tom Holland do something like this. Like, I love him as Spider-Man, but it's time to put the webs up and do something different.
Well, also a very key part of the Odyssey. Literally, the text is about Telemachus, and the whole thing is him searching for Odysseus. Like, it's him becoming a man. And this is an interesting phase in Holland's career where, especially from, like, how he's been talking lately about working on it, like, the dude sounds fucking dialed. He's like, oh, wow, this is what it's... And, like, not saying he hasn't done real movies, because, like, Lost City of Z is cool, and he did The Impossible when he was young. Very cool. Yeah. And I like The Devil All the Time. Like, I think he's solid. It's a messy movie, but, like, him and Pattinson are good. But he's just been, like, molded into image after Spider-Man, and he's a really good Spider-Man. But, like, of that machine and also trying to be an action hero. And this feels like a very conscious shift where he understands the significance of, like, I'm working with Nolan. I understand. Like, he's taken a lot of that for what he means. Like, when he was working on Spider-Man, he's like, guys, we need to do this, this, and this.
Yeah.
He's attached to a bunch of interesting things, like the Gene Kelly film, which I'm skeptical on, not really because of the song and dance aspect. I've been wanting him to do that for years, but more so of, like, the Kelly family. I know that was something he was never for. But, like, that, the rumored American Speed movie. There was another movie just recently announced with Tom Holland. Like, it's sounding like he's picking more adult-oriented projects where he's like, I'm ready to actually, like, make the shift. Like, I'm not going to be Spider-Man forever. And I think
it's very reminiscent of how Robert Downey Jr. talked about being on Oppenheimer, where it's like, I'm on a real movie set for the first time in like a decade. So
yeah,
hopefully Tom Holland doesn't go back to the MCU. But
yeah, The Partner, the Jason Bateman directed adaptation of a John Grisham.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, which, you know, I'm in. Like, that sounds interesting. Like, Bateman's a pretty solid director. The only film I think I've seen of his was that one he did.
The Spelling Bee?
Yeah, I don't know if that's his only feature. He does so much.
No, he made another movie with Nicole Kidman. The Family Fane.
Don't know it.
From 2015.
Did he direct that movie with him and Josh Brolin? And
which one was that?
This guy comes back. We're going such down a rabbit hole right now.
Black Rabbit?
No, yeah. Which,
speaking of Jason Bateman.
Speaking of Emmy nominated, like, he's done so much great TV stuff, so I think that will be, like, he can get a good performance out of him. But yeah, no, I'm very excited for Tom Holland. How that it's like this meta quality to, like, his character in the film, I think, is really intriguing.
That's probably the performance that I'm most excited for, because I feel like all the other actors have done really incredible material, but for me, Tom Holland is really just Spider-Man. And yeah, you brought up other projects that he's in, and he's very good in those, but for him to work with someone like Christopher Nolan, like, that's huge. That's huge.
For Nolan to be like, I want to work with this guy again, like, very enthused about his work, and, like, he must have done a hell of a job.
I think he did a hell of a job, and from all the footage that we've gotten, I'm really excited to see him flex his muscles in this material. I can't wait. Oh God, I'm so excited. Just a couple of days when we're recording this, I'm literally seeing the movie in 3 days. I just can't wait. Can't wait. Yeah. But is there anything else that anyone wants to say before we close out?
I think we did it. Movies are back, baby.
We done did it.
All right, that concludes our Christopher Nolan collaborative draft, so be sure to let us know what you think of our ranking.
And with that is a wrap on today's episode of Some Like It Real. Thank you all for joining us. If you're interested in following on our journey, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Brian Sutfield.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Vero Albarella and on Letterboxd at Alba_real_A.
And a massive thank you to Gio for joining us today. Such a blast getting to draft with you about Christopher Nolan. So tell us where the listeners could find you.
You can find me on Twitter at the Giovanni Lago. You can find a lot of my reviews at Next Best Picture, a lot of interviews I do. Cillian Murphy, we mentioned. I got to chat with him earlier this year for Peaky Blinders. Lovely man.
Awesome.
Lovely man. Knows how to beeline out of a party. It's the most impressive thing I've ever seen. Like, he's really good at it. The multiple times I've seen him do it. But yeah, you can find me in those spots.
Go give Gio a follow. Links will be in the description. And you can follow the show on all socials at Some Like It Real, as well as on YouTube at Some Like It Real. Be sure to subscribe and share it around, and tune in every Monday and Thursday for a new episode of Some Like It Real on podcast platforms.
We'll see you next time.